What's up, everybody? We're taking a break in this exciting race to tell you a little bit about Savage Edge. You can go to our link here, www.savageedge.com, or our Facebook here. So we're about to tell you a little bit what Savage Edge does. Have you ever wanted to put your face on a t-shirt or maybe your iRacing car? Well, we can do that for you at Savage Edge. Take a look at our direct-to-garment printer. Did you just get excited about what you can see on a t-shirt? Well, we got more for you. What about embroidered hats? Everybody loves a good hat. Look at this. We also do beanies that double as kitten holders. There's also so much more we can do here at Savage Edge. Vinyl graphics, coffee mugs, koozies. We basically can put your name on anything. So go to savageedge.com and check out our Facebook. Now back to the race.
Big NASCAR Series start at Daytona, and what better way to kick off a new season for the Cyber Thunder Racing League than for the 5th annual Cyber 500. Welcome to GreenFlagTV, and welcome to 2025. My name is Will Ramble alongside Derek Watson. We're bringing you all of racing action for the World Center of Racing. Derek, it's a track, it's a race that needs no introduction. It's the Cyber 500, the crown jewel of any NASCAR iRacing series.
What's that quote from that iconic movie, Nolan? There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Well, for any NASCAR fan, for any stock car fan, Daytona is home. 2.48 miles. It's one of the most iconic, talked about, cherished racetracks on the circuit today. Everybody wants to win a 500.
It's one of those races where even in the real world, if anybody is ever going to run a part-time car, they're going to run it right here at the World Center of Racing, and for good reason. 200 laps of high-octane action, 500 miles are ahead of us, and as we saw last year, it's one of those races where you can have a lot happen in such a short span of time, and you know for a fact that we're going to be seeing a lot of that action, a lot of that drama playing out on the racetrack, especially with a packed grid of 40-plus cars ready to take off in just a few moments' time.
Yeah, big grid, lots of talent, lots of practice, the full duels process to get here. So everybody should be comfortable in this car. Now, the daytime conditions might pose a small difference, but I think it's fair to say most people have run enough laps here to know what we're doing. Almost every iRacing Oval fan out there, in your first couple of days of iRacing, you start at Daytona, right? This is where you all want to race. It was where I think the first track I ever loaded into on the Oval side was Daytona. And so it's a beautiful place, it's cherished, and I don't care Cyber 500 or any other 500 you win, it feels special to win here. As someone who's done it a couple times now, there's that small bit of that chill you get as you're coming to the finish line. You can't quite explain. You get a tad emotional, and you can say to yourself, I've done it, that my dreams have come true.
It's the same type of sensation that IndyCar drivers get if they ever win any kind of Indianapolis or Brickyard 500 or whatever you want to call that race, or in the WEC when drivers take a championship in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, right? It's one of those races that just feels so much different from the rest, and no doubt this race is going to feel different, and it's going to feel special this afternoon, and we will get the chance to see what everybody's thoughts are on this race and how things are going to pan on now. But before we get to that, we got to get through our opening ceremonies first, so we'll take a step back, and we'll be back in a moment. And when we return, it's the starting grid with 40-plus cars on GreenFlagTV. And with that, time to take a rundown of what things look like. We've been through twin 40-lap duels, and after those duels, it's going to be none other than Gary Bowman, the driver that finished runner-up in last season's Cyber 500, starting on the top step with Greg Mitchell alongside him on the front row. Dustin Ping, Duel 1 winner, starts in third alongside Corey Sherman, the TNA Motorsports driver, back in fourth. There, it's Mike Stiverson in fifth, Cody Heinzman in sixth, Dakota Wilkins is in seventh with Tom Richter in eighth, Eric Anderson and Carter Lawson then round out the top 10, Derek.
Moving back into P11 is Chris Legou with Stephen Burnett on the outside of P12. Then it's Don Price and Matthew Simple in row 7 with Amanda Sherman, the other TNA Motorsports driver, and Lee Campbell back in row 8. Then we're going to move back into row number 9 at 17th and 18th, then Matthew Sweezy and Chris Wold. And then Chris Rose and Jared Kimmel round out your top 20.
Ethan Milwayne and Andy Cord bring it up 21st and 22nd. Mike Donahue and Cody Gibson 23rd and 24th. Craig Meyer and Stefan Music in 25th and 26th. Then you got John Milwayne and Larry Bell. Closing out the top 30 will be Doug Lockrow and Chris Letts.
Moving back into P31, Michael Murphy with Tanner Marr on the outside in 32nd. Jason Dinsmore and Andrew Caldwell. And then Dalton Kilrow and Ed Jurgen, last year's winner, all the way back in P36. Larry Coblentz and Ozzie Milwayne, 37-38. And Mackenzie Milwayne and Spencer Johnson round out P39 and P40.
So that is going to close out the starting grid this afternoon. I think a driver to look out for in the latter stage of this race going to be Ed Jurgen. He knows how to get up to the front. He was in 10th when he started the final lap for last season's Cyber 500 and managed to find his way to the front when the field pretty much annihilated themselves in turn 1. Then when the leaders took themselves out again to the back straightaway. We can talk a lot more about that, though, later on throughout the night. But up front, what do you think? Who do you think might stand a shot to win this one? Because it's hard to say this early on.
Oh gosh, there's so many stars, so many names you recognize from iRacing up and down this field. It's really hard to pick one, honestly. Like anyone here, I mean, they've all qualified through. They went through duels that we aired here on GreenFlagTV on Tuesday night. They went through a qualifying process. This is a who's who around this league as far as who could win. That's the beauty of Daytona, right? It's the parity of the draft. Anyone can win. It's all about your strategy. Do these drivers up front want to be up front? Do they want to be in the back? You know, are they comfortable just kind of riding? Do they feel the need to be aggressive? So many questions are going to need to be answered in this first stage. Let's remind that as well. There are stages in this race, Nolan, and there's lots of reasons to race for every stage, and we're going to have some fun here for 200 laps at Daytona.
2 stages, 60 laps apiece, and then it's a straight blast to the finish from there, which is going to shake things up a lot, right? Because that's going to be right in the center of those typical traditional fuel windows that we get to see. Who knows how that's going to pan on out, right? It's not often we get to see stage racing being done on a 100% length race like this, and those stage cautions, they can always change the equation, especially since, if I remember correctly, last season, we didn't have any.
Yeah, the way you plan for them is unique, and there are longer stages here. There's basically 60 laps apiece, roughly 60 and 120. So they're longer than a pit stop, so you can't account for, let me just, play the stage game and not take gas. They're going to occur after the pit stops here. So a lot to be done. There's some prizes we'll talk about for winning stages, and so some reasons to get up there and race. This is not a race where you want to sit back and just kind of wait to the last 5 laps, because you'll miss out on some pretty cool prizes here. But all right, well, Nolan, the butterflies are real. They've got to be the size of probably like, tigers or gorillas in your stomach if you want to win this race. If you're Gary Bowen up front, if you're Greg Mitchell, this is your last chance to take a big deep breath as we come here around and we just about get ready to start the Cyber 500.
Well, we might get one more chance to breathe, actually, because it looks like the lights on the pace car are still on. Now, why they are still on is a question mark for me. Maybe just giving this
field one of our parade laps. You're right. I thought I heard 1 to go, but I guess you're right. We're not 1 to go. So I'll continue that thought then, man. When you are a driver in this moment, it's a 500. It's just one shot at it. This is, there's a drop to the back. That's Dustin Payne, I believe. Yep.
That's a dual one winner. This isn't, what's going on here?
Not sure why he's being black flagged. We could see if we could figure that out in a moment. But this is a one-shot opportunity, right? And sometimes when you do like the iRacing official Daytona 500, you get up to 9 chances if you have all the free time in the world to win a 500. Not everyone does. Some people don't have the time. They don't have that availability. They get one shot. Well, for the Cyber 500, you get one shot to do this. Since right now the nerves are high, the anxiety is high, and as much as this is a cool moment and a cool event for this, remember, this is part of the Cyber Thunder Racing League, Nolan. So while this is part of a one-off for us to broadcast for them, for these guys and girls, this is just one race, right?
That's right. It's one race, but it is a race that feels different from everything else, and I think that cannot be understated with just how important a race like this feels to everybody on the racetrack. It starts off the season, right? Some of these drivers, they might not have raced together before. I know there's a lot of new faces in here that we did not see last season. A lot of faces that are returning from the last race as well.
Yep, so that'll be part of the feeling out process of this opening stage. Likely would be, I like to call it the high-speed behavioral analytics test, right? We'll see who works together, who are good partners, who can bump one another, who doesn't like being bumped by one another, and the decisions you make in stage 1 may greatly affect how we get to stage 3.
Bowman, the lounge racing driver, works his way towards the Geico Restart Zone, trying to kick off the 2025 campaign. It's go, go, go for the Cyber 500! Off of turn 4, Greg Mitchell pulls the high lane clear. Mitchell, Sherman, and Heinzman are 1, 2, and 3 up top to close out lap number 1.
All right, well, right now, if you are the leader, if you are Greg Mitchell, all right, well, I led the first lap. Now you kind of get that groove in. You kind of relax a little bit maybe and say, okay, Here we go. We're in for the long haul now. We're in for a long day here. 200 laps around this track, but look how the bottom lane's pushing. Look at that push coming out. Bottom lane's moving quick.
Oh, trouble hard into the wall on the back straightaway. One car sliding into the infield. That's Chris Rose.
Down the bottom. No caution. I see Tanner Mars involved. A few other cars in the back. This is really slow, but no yellow. We're going to say green here in the Cyber 500.
One car absolutely demolished the outside wall, and I believe that was Matthew Sweezy that just pounded the outside fence.
Yeah, he's got required repairs per race control. He's going to have to come down here right now on lap 3. That's got to be frustrating. You prepped all this time to win a Cyber 500, and lap 3, you've got to come in here and do those required repairs. And look how much that broke this pack apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 cars back on each side. And the rest of the field, at least from the front, doesn't feel visible. There's a lot of drivers probably frustrated right now by the lack of yellow flag, and that's an issue. We've seen it with iRacing at Daytona in the past couple weeks. I'm not thoroughly surprised, even if I am a little frustrated by it. But we're going to keep green flag racing here on lap 4.
Did not take long for us to find problems this afternoon. First crash coming on just the second lap of this race. In last year's 500, we made it at least to about, we made it past the 1/4 mark before we got our first caution of the night, and I'm frankly shocked that that wasn't a caution. I don't know if that's good driving or just lucky that they didn't get a yellow flag there to kick off the night.
I think it's more of a not so sensitive trigger on the caution system. Watch it here. Let's see what happens. This will be a car in the back, but here's zone right along with the 4. That's Tanner Marr. And we right about the middle of the field, you see a car hop up high really fast. It's going to be the 7, I think, that right there, that baby blue car. And he just got a bad bump, I think, if you were to watch probably behind him or from a different angle. He's got a bad bump draft, and from there, I mean, Tanner Marr just got into him, put him up in the wall, and it's just chaos back here as people are trying to get checked up and in the right lane to keep moving.
Yeah,
well,
bad
goodness,
bump
we go
with the
back
23.
live. Oh, there it is. Yep.
Oh boy.
I think pushing the pusher might have been the cause there, actually, as well. I thought I saw the car behind him pushing as well, so, yeesh.
Well, you can't lean on the right rear like that. We talked about that a lot during the duels. We talk about it every Daytona race. You cannot lean on the left rear like that. And even in Gen 6 cars whose nose and tail do line up relatively well, you can't do that, especially so in these cars where there's such a difference in symmetry between back and front.
Yeah, no, you cannot do that. Something we'll probably, maybe, hopefully not, talk about again later in this race. I'm sure we will, because you're right, it's one of the most common talking points in all of sim racing at a super speedway. But here we are, like a live front of the field. Mitchell still leading us around. He's got a big challenge in the bottom lane, though. They are not going away, but I think the top lane's got 1 or 2 more cars in it. And for now, they're kind of leading the herd around here, but it's not guaranteed. One small break in your drafting lane, and the bottom lane could be leading this race.
Right now, it's first all the way back to about 17th in one battle pack. Then you got a 4-car frame with 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. And then the second big pack headed up by Jason Dinsmore. They run all the way back in 22nd. And then you got a 4th mini pack here that runs from 29th on down. So you've got quite a bit of field separation as a result of that wreck. Right now, the biggest one, still the one up front, but that eliminates a good chunk of drivers out of contention already. The good news is they do have a stage break coming in about, just over 50 laps time. That'll help them get back sorted. Their focus now needs to just be staying on the lead lap.
Well, that's going to be the problem, is if you're a car maybe who got jumbled up in that, maybe you checked up expecting a caution, you might find yourself in a spot here where, 60 laps is a long time. You probably will get lapped if you don't have a team to draft with. So anyone stuck out alone is going to get swallowed up by this 2-wide draft before we get to that stage break. So they're kind of hoping here. But here's Tom Richter on the inside. By the way, that's the car leading the bottom lane around. He wants to lead a lap here, Nolan. I'm thoroughly surprised in a lot of ways that that red and white car on the bottom of your screen is not at the front of this field. Typically, we see the bottom lane prevail. Well, look at that big push there that Tom's getting down the back straight. But typically you see the bottom lane prevail here, and I'm a little surprised that it's not. Here it finally comes with that big push. Back around the lane here, let's see if they keep it. Oh, that was close.
Close shaven.
was-
Close shave indeed, but looking like Mitchell still going to find it out with Tom Richter. Moving down to turn number 1. Still not in the double digits marker yet, and a long way to go this afternoon. But I think this kind of two-line freight train that we're seeing here, this is going to be the norm for 90% of this race. I don't think we're going to be seeing anything other than this for like the first 180 laps or so. When we get into the back 20, that's when we're really going to start to see everything pick up. That's where drivers are going to get bold. They're going to start going 2, 3 wide, but the way these cars handle, you just can't afford to go lone wolf like that this early on.
No, you really got to be confident. You maybe have some teammates behind you or some people you trust if you want to make a move here. But a lot of drivers would say, what's the point in making a move right here? By the way, that's the first lap led right there by someone other than Mitchell. So that's going to be a new thing right here. But riding on board down back in the pack, this is Eric Anderson, Florida native. And I was going to say, what's the point in making that move right now, right? Like, that's the question you ask yourself, is risk versus reward. Here we are working lap 10, almost to lap 11. Why do you feel the need to go 3 wide? You know, what's in it to lead lap 12? Nothing. Make sure you have a car left and lead later.
Yeah, right now you just can't afford to allow anybody to break away, which is easier said than done in these types of race cars. When you get, 3 or 4 cars that are able to get out there with a good head of steam, and you get 5th place coming down to Sidedraft, the leader of the inside line, those 4 cars can shockingly break away relatively quickly. It's insane how aero-dependent these Gen 7 stock cars are, and it's something we've seen time and time again. We saw it happening at the duels just this past Tuesday. We saw it happening when the Speed Cup Series went out here on Thursday night. We saw it when OMSRL went out here a couple Tuesdays prior to the Cyber Thunder Racing League Daytona duels. It's an ever-present concern, and oh boy, somebody jumping from top to bottom. I believe that was Carter Lawson.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's the way you got to make that move, by the way, if you're Carter Lawson. It looks scary from our TV cameras to see that snap move where you go lane to lane. But in the world of super speedway racing, Nolan, that's how you have to do it. If you hesitate to move here, you will find yourself in a really bad spot. So the Terre Haute, Indiana native making the move here. And in that very unique paint scheme, when I went back and I watched the duels that you and Corey Instinct called on Tuesday, it did its job. It caught me off guard. I sort of at first kind of giggled at it. Went, ooh, that's the paint scheme. But you know what? It does its job. No matter where you are on track, you know where Carter Lawson is.
Hey, that's the good thing about a paint scheme, right? It makes you distinguishable. Kind of like how Eric Anderson runs that iconic STP blue and orangish red scheme, right? I mean, it'll turn eyes, it'll catch eyes, and that's great so long as drivers don't get target fixation on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. But sometimes it's good to know where you are. Your teammates can find you, everything here. But all right, now here comes our first test. We're not that far from this 2 wide pack catching our first lapped car, which I believe, let me double check, is going to be Tanner Marr. Yeah, oh, sorry, Andy Cook in the 40. So this will be interesting how they manage this. Right now, Andy Cork, he's doing the right thing. The Florida native is staying up top, up against the wall. They're going to try and pass him and get 3 wide here. And this is where everyone kind of holds their breath about 3 seconds because you hope no one jiggles, no one moves. And they've got him. Now his job is to get down as fast as possible and try and find that draft.
And remember how I told you about how you don't want to get 4 cars to the breakaway? Well, look at what's happening. Richter, Bowman, Stiverson, Wilkins all started to pull away, and look at the gap they're building on that inside line quickly. Right now, the 98 car's got nothing for these guys. Greg Mitchell recognized that. He's I think, thinking about jumping down to the low side right now. He's catching a sniff of the draft, but that inside lane has just lost any momentum it once had.
Yeah, and that's a sign of trust right there, because that takes a lot of trust. So hold on, we got another incident here. That's the 14. That's Ozzie Milwin in that bright yellow car. And I didn't catch who the other car was that was involved there.
Jason Dinsmore, and whoa, boy, big moment on the back straightaway.
Dinsmore kind of made an attempt to take in the Le Mans chicane there. Got an all track in the process, but you know, the Joker lap.
Two of the Canadians getting involved with some friendly fire here, and oh, maybe not actually. Well, there you go, 3 wide.
Oh, no. That's no win again. Oh wait, is this the replay, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I missed the replay marker. Thought we were back. That's a man, not again, 2 laps in a row. But yeah, right, and that's what happened there. They just got 3 wide, and I told you that's why we hold our breath at 3 wide here, because it gets a little sketchy. Watch it again. Milwain, I think, just comes down, maybe not sure how clear or not clear he is, and watch, it's going to hop up in that grass, and he's a little airborne. So what? People like me, I'm a purist for Daytona. I hate in real life that the grass is gone, but even in the sim, Nolan, you can see that's why the grass shouldn't exist. That bumpiness, I mean, luckily for Milwain, he kept it all on all 4s, but...
Good save, by the way, from Milwain on that one, as went for a 360 slide, then pulled that car back out of these, and could have been a lot worse. Could have had 2 cars going hard into the inside wall. Jason Dinsmore, though, is in pit road, and he's been there for over a minute. In fact, he took a toe to pit road, so I do believe he may very well be out of this race tonight.
Well, at least out of contention, right? I mean, he may want to come back and score some points, and who knows what, see where he can finish. But as far as winning this event, yeah, it's pretty safe to say he is out of contention. Well, here's Richter now being pushed around. And what Moyne was going to make a moment ago, by the way, before we kind of got caught up by that wreck here, is they're now coming up on 2 more lap cars. It takes a lot of trust, by the way, to get pushed as hard as Tom Richter is. It takes a lot of trust in that pusher behind you. So no, they're going to do it correctly. They're not going to push you sideways. They're not going to bump you too hard. Not going to do any of that in this moment.
Fast lap of the race set last time by Cody Heinsman, a 46.24, and in fact, that is almost 2 tenths quicker than anybody else. And how about that? It just got beaten. Matthew Semple going into the 07 bracket. 46-second range. We're not far off from the 45s, and a lot of that is just from getting a huge pug of draft as they get in line. Now we got 2 lap cars on the bottom that their leaders are working around.
Well, I'm remiss if I didn't say that was quite the head of hair on Matthew Simple there. I don't even notice that in his profile photo. I do not have that much hair. Don't think I've had that much hair ever. Maybe think of it, but especially not at this point in life. But yeah, the 80s call, that was a head of hair. Something I noticed, by the way, as we talk about this whole trusting and being pushed around by Richter, and you see Bowman and in the field on back, I don't see Richter and Bowman even in the same Discord voice chat. So I don't think they're teammates, though. And I think they're just 2 drivers who know one another or are comfortable with the push. That sort of makes it more impressive.
Tom Richter's been here since the inception of this series. He's one of the main administrators for the Cyber Thunder Racing League. And Gary Bowman, he's been around the block. He knows how these guys run. He ran in the last Cyber 500 here. And I think he and Richter kind of linked up quite a bit in that prior race as well. So Bowman's got good reason to work with Richter. There's a rapport there. And that is a rapport that is very, very useful at tracks like this. You got to have your friends. If you don't have any friends, you're not going to go very far in a race like this.
No, and that's sort of something we hinted at before the race starts, right? We like to call this a high-speed behavioral analytics test. And so what that means, everything you do right now helps write the story for later. So for Bowman right now, he's telling Richter, hey, I'm a good pusher. I'm committed to you. I'm willing to help you. You know, you can trust me. Those are positive things to write down. But, you know, what if, right? What if, let's say, in the back of that field, let's say someone helps you draft up to the front of the field and you sort of dump down the bottom lane and you leave them behind, or you bump someone and it makes them squirrel or what have you. Those are things that someone can, hey, I don't want to work with that guy later, right? So everything you're doing right now is setting up the scene for about 179 laps from now when we get to the end of this thing.
Still in full force this afternoon with plenty of drivers yet to be decided This race, man, it's been a good one this afternoon so far. Already lots of drama in this one, lots of action to be talking about. There's Corey Sherman running in the 6th place. A lot of drivers are streaming their views of this race, either on YouTube or Twitch. Corey Sherman is one of 3 that I've kind of got up in a separate window keeping tabs on. He's been running very smoothly so far, no concerns at all. And Sherman could be one of those guys that comes back kind of later in this race as one of the guys that we don't talk about much, but will surprise us by the end.
Yeah, right now doing good. And by the way, I want to point out that yellow car in the back. That was Ozzy Milwane. We saw him involved earlier, and now he's being lapped by the field. Now, what I like about what he did for himself on a selfish level, Nolan, he stuck to the bottom lane. And why that's important is when you make the lead cars go around you and then kind of fold back down, it does a better job at sucking you into the draft. It kind of helps you get in there a little bit better. Now the downside, if you're a lead lap car, is it means you got to kind of make a lane change, and everyone's kind of do that snake or, you know, whatever you want to call that move, the serpentine move, some people call it, and it can kind of throw things off a little bit. But for Ozzy Milwane on a personal level, it helps him stay in the draft.
And again, that is a tactic that we see time and time again. But we see it especially in Gen 7 races, because here's the thing. The draft to try to catch up to a car in the Xfinity or the trucks, right, it extends back a good little ways. We're talking 7-8 tenths of a second. In these cars, if you're by yourself, you drop anything further back than like a quarter of a second, you're done. You are losing that draft. That's why it is so important to be selfish in a situation like this, because now, this means now Ozzy Milwane is the lucky dog. Caution is out. He's the first car to get another lap. Otherwise, if you're having to fight it out with Mackenzie Milwane, who's 2.6 seconds behind him now.
Yeah, so great job by Ozzy in that bright yellow machine to get in line here. And we'll see other cars on throughout the field. Let's take a look through the field real quick. Look at this. We're more than 10% done in this race already. No cautions. A couple incidents maybe you could argue should have been cautions, but no caution flag yet. Remember, we do have the 2 stages, so those are planned yellows, 60 and 120. But for right now, we are green flag racing up and down this field. Here's Jason Dinsmore, by the way, the Toronto native. And right now, he's kind of riding around. And he was involved with Ozzy Milwane in that incident, so he's found himself a small drafting pack of 5 cars. And what this will do, this will help him, if not get lapped before the stage ends, it at least help kind of delay the inevitable, right? That it's better for him to be in a 5-car pack than to kind of be out there alone, you know, just kind of waiting for the draft to find him. So kind of good for him that he found this pack. What I wonder about these packs we have now, Nolan, is for some drivers, you're back here because maybe you got involved in a small incident, you kind of lost the draft, but as we talk to some drivers pre-race, some of them want to be back here. Some of them are happy not being part of the draft, right? So here's the 37 and the 22. That's Ethan Milwane. And the 37, that's John Milwane. Those are relatives in the 22. Some drivers don't want to be in this pack. They don't want to be involved in the first couple wrecks. They want to, I guess to steal a line from a popular show, they want to drive to survive.
I both agree and disagree with the strategy, right? I agree it's good to be towards the tail end of the pack when you're early in the race, but you want that to be the leading pack, because the problem with these guys here, like it or not, no matter how clean they run, if this race goes green for the distance, they are not catching the front runners. They are going to be stuck here, and the best they can hope for will be 17th or worse. They are not going to catch the front runners. They need to get something working to get up there to fight with those guys. And it is a possibility, but right now, we're not seeing that drive early on to get to the front, and that is going to cost them big time in the long term, because sooner or later, they're going to go a lap down.
Well, the question is, can they hold on, right? Can they hold on to the first stage? We're almost halfway there right now. If they can hold on to the first stage, and it sort of, you know, normalizes everything, it resets it back to 0. But some drivers we talked to said, hey, I don't want to race until the 3rd stage. I want to make sure I have a car that's capable of racing in the 3rd stage. So we'll see how that goes here. That's that long line. Look at that. That's got to be, what, 15, 16, 17 cars long in this first line here. Still being led by Richter. Now, the challenge in this long line, Nolan, and why you see some drivers eventually kind of abandon this, I think, is because when you get a long line like this, it checks up really hard towards the back. That means that basically every little wiggle that, say, Richter, Bowman, Steverson, Wilkins, or Mitchell makes, or anyone in that line, it just sort of creates an accordion effect backwards. It makes it hard to stay in the gas. So I'll be curious to see if this line stays forever here. But I have to note there's a couple big gaps in this line. There's one there between Mitchell and Corey Sherman. I don't know if that's intentional, but that's a hell of a gap to have on lap 28.
And here's another one between Chris Legou and Eric Anderson that's starting to become a little bit of a worry. This is Amanda Sherman and Matthew Semple with about a quarter of a second between them. Sometimes it is intentional. You want to give yourself a little bit of extra breathing room, but you got to be very careful with that, because here you see Legou. Now he is struggling to catch back up to Eric Anderson because he is at risk of losing that draft, even though he's got cars behind him.
Yeah, especially when you're not fully in line. Every time that car wiggles, you're going to have that problem. Here now, we're going to go back in the field here. This is the 24. That's Dalton Kilrow. Remember the High Tide Racing League seen here every Monday night on GreenFlagTV. Dalton had to race his way in, literally. Nolan had to go through an approval race on Monday night, had to go through the duels on Tuesday. And when we asked him to describe his duel process on happened on Tuesday, he just said, "Hey, I was a magnet for every car out there." That's how he felt. He felt exhausted after Tuesday night going through his duel and racing his way in.
Well, she really was, though, wasn't he? He was one of the first cars out in that race, and he kind of took it on the chin. It was like, well, I'm starting last, so there's only one way I can go from here. And hey, he's up 17 already. That's not nothing. Now, granted, problems may have helped him out a little bit with that, but he's been making moves steadily. He's now holds the fastest lap of the race, a 45.93. He's right behind, guess who? Larry Bell, Five Kings Motorsports driver, but critically, fellow High Tide Racing League driver.
Fellow High Tide. So you have to think there's some kind of camaraderie and friendship there. He's got Larry Bell in front of him. He's got the 46 behind him. That is Andrew Caldwell. That is not a High Tide Racing. Remember, oh, here's our first pit stops, lap 30. I'm perplexed. I guess they're going to break this in half, though, because lap 30 is not when you're out of fuel. So, I mean, this is all the front field. My goodness.
Right, so this has just gotten real interesting. Now, this puts that lap 60 stage caution in question now. Do they pit right before?
It just means they want to be, I guess, symmetrical. They want to break this in half evenly. They want to come in now and get it done. And listen, all these guys have, Discord communications or whatever they're using, TeamSpeak, if people still use that. But I was surprised. Here comes your second set. Maybe inspired by the first sets because
holy cow, Sweezy!
Oh, that's a black flag for multiple things. That's gonna be unsafe pit entry. That's gonna be speeding. It's he found his pit box. That I'm amazed by. I was going, man, I hope he's not an early pit box. There's Sherman on pit road.
Class of felony is 30 over the limit.
Yeah. It's something like that, if what it is in the States as well. But yeah, it's something like that. But, oh, there's a car, by the way. Had a hard time finding their box. We saw him kind of moving around.
There's Matthew Semple that is having issues, and that mistake is going to cost him 7+ seconds on pit road. That is a devastating error.
So there's still, by the way, I want to mention this. There's still a pack of, I think, 15 cars on the track who have not pitted yet. This is going to get very chaotic right now in this moment when you have drivers merging back on the track, coming off a pit road, leaders trying to race their way around. And I think the leaders have about another 5 laps before they have to pit here. Now, this is going to get a little weird because right now any kind of caution is just going to throw chaos into who is where on the track leaderboard or position-wise. But right now it's Gary Bowman, Don Price, Larry Bell, Dalton Kilrow, and Andrew Caldwell, some form of the top 5. If you can find them mixed into this herd of cars that I'm assuming also includes, or will include, some lap-down cars at one point.
And how about that? Larry Bell going to drive Dalton Kilrow to the front, pulled him along with Andrew Caldwell. They got such a good drive going after Gary Bowman. Their pace in the lead kind of faltered big time with that big pack fracture. And meanwhile, these three have been absolutely ripping it. 3 drivers, 3 teams, and they are on an absolute flyer right now.
Yeah, doing a pretty great job is what they're doing here, and that is trust between Kilrow and Bell, and then they've brought Caldwell along, and look at that. This not pushing him, not shoving him, but using every ounce of that aerodynamics possible is Kilrow to get Bell around here. So great run by the top 3. They've now pulled away a little bit from Bowman, from Gibson, from Price, and others in this group. But I can say right now, if there's another car pitting alone, this will be not good. Yeah, that's not good at all. On the 27, I believe that is. Yeah, it is a 27. And for Don Price, that's going to be a hard time finding a drafting lane when you get out of here. And how many pit stalls you going to drive through there, Don Price?
I don't agree with the pit call by yourself at all. I mean, pitting by yourself, heck, even pitting with only just 1 car in Gen 7 cars, that is a death sentence on your competitive race.
Yeah, he's going to hope he can just find with all the fracturing of this group that's happened from the pit stops, he's going to have to hope he can find just a group to attach onto and see around right side of the cars up. So there's at least a 2-tire stop. I'm guessing a 4-tire stop because of a full fuel tank. No, only 2 tires.
Well, that's a long stop too. That's 29 seconds in the box. What a weird pit stop. That's got
to be something with a penalty involved. There's no way you're in the box for 29 seconds on 2 tires. Maybe he sped in. I'm not sure, but there's no way the 2-tire stop here is 29 seconds. And they would have done the right sides first, so it's not like they did the left sides. We didn't see it, so I'm not sure. All right, well, more pit stops coming this time. I think Tanner Marr's going to come in. Edward Jurgen, last year's winner, will be coming in. So this cycle is not too far from being done. Oh, there's Dalton Kilrow. There's Larry Bell.
Oh, locking it up big time for Caldwell. He'll get it slowed down, though. And they're going to come back out of pit road as well. I'm surprised to seeing so many split calls on drivers taking tires and fuel. I would have thought fuel only would just be a prerequisite this early on.
I mean, you can say that, but then again, when you time out the pit stop, as far as how long it takes to put gas in the car, here comes your next group, by the way. This should pretty much end.
Whoa, no!
Your first cycle. Hold on. There's a car turned sideways. That's a 25? That's 25. That's not 29. You're right. Sorry.
He got punted around in this one as well.
He's having a hard time finding his box here. He's trying to get it lined up correctly and get it parked in. That's going to be a bad day for Spencer Johnson. A couple of last cars here. But I was going to say, with how long it takes to fuel the car, most drivers will take tires because it takes longer to put the gas in than the tires in this moment. So, why not do both? Assuming you're taking a full tank is that moment. Watch this here from Spencer Johnson, the orange car, 3 cars back. It's going to come down pit road, and I think it's going to find that bright green machine. He just missed his box. That's what happened, Nolan. He missed his box, and then 62 had nowhere to go. 62, that being Jason Dinsmore, who we saw earlier involved with Ozzie Milwane, had no idea he was going to check. He was going to slam on the brakes. But yep, when you miss your pit box, those kind of things can happen to you.
And that is such a tough break as well. That gives you damage now. That's going to kill your race from there. And again, hoping that he can get a lucky break with a caution either before lap 60 or at lap 60 to try to get himself back on the lead lap. But I think you can't really wait for the stage at this point if you're in a situation like that. You need a quick caution to help break up the rhythm.
Yeah, or you just got to hope, for more cautions later, right? You're right. We'll see here. Well, here's our front pack, sort of gotten back together. Steverson, Richter, Wilkins, Lawson, Mitchell, your top 5. And these are the drivers sort of involved in that front pack before the pit stops began, so it makes sense we've cycled around Nolan. But for now, unless a caution comes out, I would say we're done pitting for everybody until that stage break on lap 60. So Everyone here is just kind of ride along and be comfortable. But coming back to one last thought about these first pit stops, we see an incredible push from the 34 here. There was no real out loud communication. They must have been using only Discord only to communicate, because like I heard nothing in the iRacing voice chat that indicated that first group was pitting. I think everyone got caught off guard on that lap 30 pit stop.
It was well executed, right? The first group at least got down to pit road, no problem. Some drivers may have bailed out from just behind. That might be why they were running so conservatively single file, right? They're trying to avoid being caught out by moves like that when they're up on the outside line of track with nowhere to get down low.
All right, well, here we are now working lap 40. Doing a good run here. By the way, Mike Stuyvesant doing great. He was the 2022 Cyber Thunder Season 1 Rising Stars champion. So he's really had a great run here through Cyber Thunder Racing League. And a Terre Haute native is leading now at Daytona. Great job coming around here and leading again. Now we're seeing a new pack come around here. See what kind of merge or see what kind of run they can make happen here. I think let's see an Oreo car on the outside. Stuyvesant, oh my gosh, hold the line. Ooh, that's gotta make Richter and the rest of the crowd a little nervous, because that was scary, Nolan Ripple.
Yeah, it sure was. I mean, you want to talk about close calls. That is a close call right there. A lot of folks kind of getting a little bit squirrely. And you know what, let's dissect that a little bit more if we can, because those are the types of moves that could very well spell ends to your chances on winning a Cyber 500.
And just kind of curious. I mean, nothing really big happens. Watch it going to come through the tri-oval. And maybe it just gets a little, maybe gets a little off-center bump. I couldn't tell from an angle, but it really just upset that car, and that car went sliding back and forth. And what that did is it sort of caused them to check up a little bit. And now it's brought this whole line together. So now people like Heinzman, Sherman, Dalton, Kilroe, or Kilroe's 9 seconds back, sorry, but it's Sherman, Heinzman, and some other lap cars here have now caught this field. So now it's one massive conglomerate. And look at this, Nolan. Dalton Kilroe is starting to move around a little bit, starting to kind of wiggle a little bit. I'm not sure if maybe he's just kind of antsy or if that's telling me something. But, oh boy, here we go. Too wide racing here. We're still 17 laps before the stage ends. But these guys want to move to the front.
Doug Lockrow leads the way, jumps up ahead of Ethan Milwane. And, well, you did have the 21 entry of Mackenzie Milwane up top as well. And how about that? Lockrow just being hung out to dry. He is going to remember that, trust me.
Yep. Well, like we talked about earlier, it really, really matters about how you treat people in this race. Oh, the 45 barely clear of the 88. My goodness. That's tight. That was Doug Lockrow pulling in front of the 88 of Amanda Sherman.
And
I bet Amanda remembers that.
Oh boy, problems for both Shermans. They have both just dropped.
Oh no. That makes you think it's an internet problem at home.
I thought it was isolated when we went on board with Amanda Sherman and she dropped down, but all of a sudden Corey Sherman is also tumbling down the field.
Oh.
Going to try, because Corey Sherman is one of the guys that does have a stream running, I do believe, and looking, Corey Sherman's stream has dropped as well, so there's a big problem at home.
Yeah, internet problem at home. The Williamson, New York natives right now having a big problem here now. Depending on how fast they can get reconnected, if it's just a temporary blip. I mean, the good news we got a stage caution coming. You could maybe make back a couple of laps here, but it's got to be a quick reconnection in that moment. Well, here comes our pack here. You're going to pass by a couple cars now, put them a lap down or more, depending upon the status of that car.
Price struggling to link up with Sweezy there. We saw Price coming down all by himself. He is now going to go a second lap down. Sweezy will drop now. Only 4 laps down, I want to say, if I'm doing my math on that accurately. I am 4 laps down for Sweezy. Is it incredible that we're already almost a quarter of the way through a 500-mile race?
Yeah, we're making great pace here. I mean, lap 46, doing a pretty good job. I said, we've stayed green. Maybe that's in question if we should have stayed green, but we have. And so for the drivers who are up front, that's a big benefit. If you're a driver who was involved in something like Sweezy, you probably wish we weren't staying green. But listen, don't fret if you're one of those. Hold on, big wreck in the back. Right behind this group, there's a big wreck. Sorry, I saw it off the back of the camera. Yellow's out. Oh my goodness.
Oh, we got more cars at the outside wall on the approach. Gibson side slapped the wall, and looking like it may have been Price, one of the main contenders involved. And Chris Letts.
Yeah, it is. It's a 27 and the 65 are going to be the reason for this caution. I saw it on the back of one of the cameras. Oh boy, this is going to change up everything. Right now, if you're Amanda Sherman, Corey Sherman, this is good news for you. And there it is. It's got turned. I'm not sure. They were side by side. I mean, it's hard to say who got who, but regardless, there it is. And finally, the caution comes out for the first time here at Daytona.
Get one more look, and then we'll back this up to try to get more of an angle on this. So, for double file, I think the 65 of Chris Letts is trying to get back in line and just horribly misjudged it, while Price is kind of moving up a little bit, maybe trying to pick him up.
Yep, so of note, this will put us in the spot where we're going to go green flag racing after this for a very few amount of laps to end the stage. So right now, if you're someone like your Corey Sherman, Amanda Sherman, get back in here if they can, then the good news for them would be you're going to get 2 quick cautions here in a moment. But Amanda Sherman just confirmed for me their internet has dropped, so I'm not sure if they're coming back or when. Boy, oh boy.
Well, here we go. Pit stops. Dalton Kilrose staying out. He's going for stage points. So is
yeah,
Doug
lots of
Lockrow.
things happening here.
A couple of cars having to reposition in the box as drivers will sort themselves out and look to get themselves back up onto the racetrack and race off of pit road, headed up by Steverson, Richter, Mitchell, Lawson, Burnett, Bowman, and Campbell for the top bunch.
By the way, of note, Mackenzie Milwain appears to be the lucky dog, so he'll be back on the lead lap here and eligible. But I think, Nolan, this might be a good time to talk about why Dalton Kilroe might be staying out front. There are some prizes to be handed out today in the Cyber 500, and one of them is for winning the first stage. Now, don't be confused. That's Dalton Kilroe. He has a couple of cars in front of him. Those are cars that are going to stay out and get a lap back. So Kilroe is your leader. I'm not sure if we have the graphic ready. Can we show the prizes that we could win here today?
Stand by, please.
Maybe we'll find that here, but this is what you could win today. A bunch of prizes. There's 4 different prizes to be handed out here. So Dalton Kilroe's going to try to aim for one of them. All right, here you go. If you win, the person who leads the most laps of stage 1 gets a setup pack courtesy of Premier Racing Setups. The driver who leads the most laps of stage 2 gets a $50 gift card to Sim Wrap Market. Awarded the driver who leads lap 101. We'll talk about that later. That's a 3-month resub. And then custom engraved trophy for the winner of the Cyber 500s. Right now, I wonder if Dalton Kilroe is trying to see if he can maybe lead the most laps in stage 1, or if he just wants to set himself up here. Assuming most people will pit again, maybe he thought so. Maybe he was surprised by how many people pitted under this yellow, Nolan.
We talked a bit about the awards and who's presented them. Let's give a shout out to the folks that kicked the lights on here for the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Tonight's race being brought to you by Premier Racing Setups. Premier Racing Setups is the longest standing and most trusted setup shop in the market, committed to serving the iRacing community for years to come. As one of the few official LLC shops available, they offer a wide range of services tailored to elevate your iRacing career regardless of experience. They offer setup packs, coaching, monthly subscriptions, custom setups, and much, much more. As well as that, tonight's race brought to you by SimRat Market, the premier destination for all of your sim racing graphic needs. Whether you're a seasoned designer or a new painter looking to personalize your ride, they have everything you need to take your iRacing paints to the next level. And of course, cannot forget Savage Edge Gaming as well on that list.
No, they're a great company as well. I want to say real quick here, as we're about to get ready to go green for a few laps. There's 2 races going to happen here, Nolan. There's a race up front, Kilrow, Lockrow, Stuyvesant, Richter, and others. But there's also a fight back for P30. That's Ozzie Milway, Larry Colbins, Spencer Johnson, Tanner Marr, Andy Cork, and Chris Letts. Those are the cars 1 lap down. They know there's a caution coming in about 11 laps or so. One of them potentially could be the next lucky dog and find themselves back on the lead lap at the end of stage 1. So essentially, there's kind of 2 races happening at once here.
And both of those races are extremely important as well, because they could be the make or break races for drivers that are trying to get back into contention with this race. A lot of those drivers that are laps down, either from incidents or from losing the draft as a result of other incidents. Green flag in the air this time by lap number 50, just shy of the 1 quarter mark. Kilrow and Lockrow still side by side. Down to turn number 1, Stiverson and Richter run as the main pushers. Mitchell and Lawson back on row 3. Still neck and neck as we hit the super stretch.
Yeah, 2 very good pushes coming here. No big advantage for either lane yet. Dalton Kilrow's got a nice push coming from the 20 behind him. Meanwhile, it's Richter pushing the car up top, and I think right now Kilrow has a small advantage. We'll see how they do out of the corner.
10 laps to go in stage number 1 at the line. So drivers are quickly running out of time if you want to get stage points. They are awarded for the top 10 drivers. So right now, Campbell holds on to the last of the potential stage points. Not a lot of them on offer, and as we've seen before, with a playoff system in play like the Cyber Thunder Racing League has, every one of those spots matters. Look at Lawson thinking about going 3 wide up top.
Yeah, this is the time you want to do it. I understand the need right now. It's stage points in the stage. You want to be in that spot to do well. So I get why you want to be 3 wide here. Boy, the side drafting is getting a little bit more aggressive here. That's something we'll talk about probably on our next stage of racing. I will note the admins have predetermined, Nolan, if a caution were to come out from lap 55 on, that would end the stage early. That is the predetermined breaking point, if you will. So keep that in mind, that if that caution comes out in that 55 to 60 window, that will end this stage a little early. But right now, great racing. Look at this big pack. Remember how separated it was 10 minutes ago? Yeah, that's done. We're 1 big pack of racing.
This is exactly like it was at the very start of the race, but that was shattered on lap number 2 when we had the 7 of Sweezy getting turned head on into the outside wall. Really broke this pack up early, so this is also the longest time we've had a big pack like this working together.
Yeah, this is, man, and see all the just small wiggles happening up and down the field, people trying to kind of get in line or maybe see around them, maybe get some air in that car, whatever they think they need to do to be ready here. Because these cars can only push for so long before they do need a little bit of air behind them here. And the drivers do get nervous about that as well. That's Greg Mitchell, by the way, in the 55, that black and green machine on the bottom, now helping give the big push to the bottom lane. They're now 2 car lengths ahead coming down the Daytona Super Stretch.
Greg Mitchell led a lot of this race, well, not led a lot of this race, but he was up at the front a lot of this race early on, and he is one of the drivers that has now taken 2 pit stops on the afternoon, the second one coming under that caution that we got about 10 laps ago. And now still looking to stay up front. 3, making 4 cars now, single file on the bottom before you get all the way back to the 45 of Lockrow on the high side.
Boy, look at that. You're right. That's really, that bottom lane is moving. That 5 cars helping put That's 5-car Stephen Barnett. He's helping push here, and that is amazing how quickly they've made a progress here. And that's why people prefer the bottom lane. It's not that the top lane's inferior. I think people just get a little impatient with the top lane sometimes, Nolan. They don't want to wait for it to come around. They don't want to wait to push. And this bottom lane gets out here pretty big. But here's Kilrow now leading us around here to start lap 55. This is, I need a better term. I know it is the point of no return. That comes from Evan Pasoko, but I don't know if we have a better term for that than the point of no return.
Event horizon? Steal some black hole terminology?
Yeah. The tipping point. The danger zone. I got nothing. Oh, speaking of danger zone, look at that. The 46 getting around Richter. Oh, buddy.
Yeah, no kidding. Caldwell being hung out to dry there with that attempt at a move. Nobody was keen on that one. And how about this now? Double file racing for the top spots. I think they've realized that we've kind of hit that horizon now. They can see a stage end inside, and now Kilrow hung out on the top side as Steverson goes to the point.
So Kilrow got moved up top here. Steverson to the inside. He's got that push from the 55. Got the push from the 5. And now we have a new, not a new leader, I guess a leader once again. A lead change would be the right way to say that here, with only a couple laps to go in this stage here. And boy, look from behind. Look at that second and third in line. Look at how hard the 5 is just all over the back of the 55 here. Now they've caught the leader. Now they have to be careful to let the 5 let up, because if the 5 keeps pushing the pusher, someone will get spun around.
4 laps to go at the stripe as Kilrow and Steverson remain in lockstep. Down to the wire, this time by Kilrow remains out in front. With that second row doing their due diligence, I'm worried about Heinzman because he was really pushing Gary Bowman to get to the back of Dalton Kilrow. While, yes, that got him up there, it's risky to do that.
Well, and the risk, as we said earlier, is about temperatures, oil temperature, water temperature. These drivers have indicators on the digital dashboards that tells them how hot it's getting. And if it gets too hot, it keeps blinking red, you'll blow a motor here. So they got to keep that in mind as this race goes on. But here we come now, Stuyvesant. Bowman now to the front. Bowman sort of out of nowhere. Kilrow there side by side through the line here to start lap 58.
And now cutting low, Cody Heinzman, the TNA Motorsports driver, trying to salvage a bad situation with the TNA Motorsports gang after 2 of the teammates that he ran with. Corey and Amanda Sherman become our first 2 official retirees of the night with internet problems. If Heinzman can make something out of this and come home as potential, even a podium finisher for the team, that would be such a great, that'd be a great silver lining to walk away from the race from.
Oh, it certainly would, right? Because he's got 2 teammates who aren't here, but now he just got passed on by about a 46. That's Caldwell now making the move to the front.
2 laps to go. Pit road is closed at the line, so time again running out. It's the end of lap 60. 2 laps in the stage, and Caldwell jumping out in front. Does anyone have an answer for him?
Yeah, I don't know. Right now, the 20-year-old Bradford, Ontario, Canada native wants to win this stage. Wants to see what he can make happen here. So, I mean, in real life, he's a snow removal driver, a snow plow driver. Right now, he is trying to plow his way to the front of this field to win the stage, but he just got passed by that blue and red, and now they're all over the field. No one is content on the top lane. Then Bowman's now back to the lead on the bottom line.
Not quite. Kilrow got up there. He's going to shove Heinzman clear off of turn number 4. So Bowman thought he was going to get in there. Not quite. One car tries to cut low. No room down there, though. Where has Stefan Music come from? The Spam 09 is on a chart. He has come out of absolutely nowhere fighting for a top 5.
Here we go. This is it. This is the lap to determine your stage 1 winner. This will cause the caution here after the drivers get around the line. We'll get our, I guess, our second break of the race. But we are moving quickly here. Can Heinzman do it? Can Bowman do it? Will someone come out of nowhere? That's the bigger question. Here's Kilrow. Kilrow now wants to take the lead.
Kilrow Kilrow drops down low. The exultant number 24 for Team MFRD, trying to see if he can rock it through. Started to the back of the pack, and he'll drive away, winning stage number 1 of the Cyber 500. Up top goes Heitzman. He won't get the job done.
Some moment here, the caution, there it is, will come out. And boy, I thought when Kilrow went up the lane after taking the lead, I thought for sure he might have let the bottom lane catch him. No, he did not. He won that stage very clearly. The Ormond Beach, Florida native. Great run by Dalton Kilrow.
Did everything he had to do there and came out on top. Well, stage 1 is in the books this afternoon. Let's take a step back. When we return, it's more racing action on GreenFlagTV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to GreenFlagTV. Under our second caution of the night. This one not for a crash, but for a stage. If you're just joining us, we have just closed out stage number 1. My name is Ola Rempel alongside Derek Watson. We are bringing you all of racing action from the 5th annual Cyber 500. And boy, what a race it has been so far as pit stops are underway under the yellow flag.
Yeah, what a race it's been indeed. And here comes pit stops. I suspect most of the field should be down here, if not everybody. That would make mathematical sense here. Do I see that Cody Heitzman stayed out?
Heitzman stayed out along with Burnett, Stiverson, Mitchell, Legou, Anderson, and Michael Murphy. They all pitted on the lap 47 yellow.
That is questionable to me. That maybe they know something I don't know, but I would take every shot I could to put gas in this car. I mean, everyone's going to stop again in stage 2. I get that part, but I'm a fan of having as much gas as possible here in that one. Well, I think it's time to catch up with our stage 1 winner, Dalton Kilrow. Well, this race is different than you told me it was going to be, Dalton. Someone told me an hour ago, I'm going to sit in the back, I'm going to be conservative, I'm not going to race up front. When did that change? Maybe we don't have Dalton Kilrow. He's currently set to mute. See if we can get Dalton Kilrow to unmute himself under pacing here. Maybe he's not there. But he did tell me, Nolan, pre-race, he said, I'm going to sit in the back. You know, I'm already starting from the back. I don't feel the need to race up front. He did race up front. He's still muted. Oh, there he is.
There
Dalton.
we go.
Dalton Kilrow, get a copy? Maybe some
Careful.
microphone problem.
Not quite. I think he,
Hello, y'all got me?
There he is.
watch the grass.
Yeah, they, for some reason this channel's set to push talk, not voice activity, so I had to quickly switch over to that and change the button to something on my wheels so y'all can actually hear me. Yes, that was the game plan, and then everything kind of stacked up and I got hooked up to that 05 of Larry Bell, and we just started making hay, and I was like, oh, let's just keep going, and made it all the way up to, I think I was inside the top 10 when that first caution popped out, and then just stayed out, got track position, and was in the lead there. So plans change, and we'll kind of see what happens here.
So it felt like on lap 30 when the first group pitted, that being Richter and that group that pitted first, I didn't hear any kind of calling across the iRacing drivers radio that I'm scanning, did it also catch you by surprise when they all pitted right on lap 30?
Not really. They were, they did actually call that. I don't know if it might be all teams muted or something for you, but, and they might have even been calling over the driver's chat, but I know, they did call it, and I was just like, okay, y'all wanna do that? Cool. We'll just stay hooked up here. Y'all get sorted out that way, and, we'll keep gaining ground.
All right, well, congrats on the stage win, and we're going to put you back down there with Larry and Tanner and your spotter, and we'll see what we can get you out of this room later, and see if we maybe get you maybe a stage win, maybe a Cyber 500 win. We'll see what happens.
Hey, that's the hope. That's the hope.
All right, good luck. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right, that is Dalton Kilrow, and he won stage 1, and as he said, Dolan, that's how fast plans change here. He was content on riding in the back before this race started. Thought he would not be the front till the end of stage 2 during stage 3, and well, he just won stage 1.
Oh, absolutely. And hey, those stage points, they matter. So plans change. They can change quite quickly depending on how the wind blows, especially at a place like this. And well, we're getting set for another 56 laps of racing, potentially to our second stage break at lap 120. But the iRacing pace car is set to pull down into pit road once again. What a race this one is going to be as the field gets set to jump onto the loud pedal. Pace car is off, and you can see the field just out of the right rear window. Green flag is in the air.
Heinzman's got a big jump here, and I think he wants to try to clear the 5, but is not quite able to do it. Now he's going to wait for the 55 to catch back up here.
A lot of separation and then back off the restart, almost like no one was ready for it, it looks like.
Oh my gosh, look at that big gap on the bottom. You're right, I had not seen that from the camera shot I was watching here, but goodness, yeah. That top field's going to run around here for a moment and dominate here. Heinzman, the 55, Bowman, whoever else is back here is going to have a great time. By the way, Cody Heinzman, I think the smartest guy in the field, Nolan. The 25-year-old Portage, Michigan native. When we asked for our driver bios this week, he didn't promote himself. When I said, tell us about you, he said, I'm married to the best wife in the world. That is smart marketing right there. That's going to get you brownie points at home. That's what every husband should strive for. Every other husband's like, darn it, why didn't I do that?
Music jumping down to the low side as Mike Stiverson up top, one of the first cars that came down pit road. One of the last car, that did not come down pit road is running up on the high side, and that outside lane's got some momentum working with him. And I mean, typically on iRacing, right, Daytona tends to be a very bottom lane heavy racetrack. If you're going single file, almost always down low. But hey, that outside lane is workable. You just got to get a bunch of guys that have that mutual agreement that we're just going to stay up by the wall instead of jumping down low like the 5 just did.
Yeah. Both lanes are workable. I think that's what a lot of people miss about the iRacing model. Both lanes are workable. Again, it's about patience. It's about sticking with it and making it work. And that's what we're seeing here for the top lane. Everyone's pretty committed there. You see the 5s back there. Dalton Kirrell's in the bottom. Here comes the 90. Is that the 97? Dropping to the bottom. So he's now going to try to make a run at it. And not long from now, Michael Murphy and others are going to try to make this bottom lane get back to the front here.
Look at how quickly they've dropped back as well. Looking though, no, Murphy's starting to make some progress there. I can see it now. How about that? Kilrow now.
Kilrow up top.
Yeah, jumps up high. Usually it's the other way around.
And you could say it's going to take Dustin Ping up with him. And that's the thing we're talking about patience, right? That bottom lane was starting to move. And now 2 of the cars have dropped out of it. That'll temporarily slow its pace. Now maybe they'll get back into it. But look how far back this field goes. Time and time here as we get around here.
I think the 37 car of Ethan Millwane may have just gone 3 wide on the back straightaway, trying to make some ground. It's always risky to do early on a restart.
Yeah, let's watch it and see what's going to happen here. That's going to be Mill Wayne in that highlighter yellow and green cars, 3 wide. Got the 05, pardon me, on the inside. There's another Mill Wayne and a 22 on the outside. By the way, there are 4 Mill Waynes in this race. You don't need to adjust your glasses or think that maybe we messed up in the scoring pylon. There are 4 Mill Waynes in this race. So 2 of them are brothers. That would be Mackenzie and Ethan are the brothers. And then Ozzy and I think Jonathan Mill Wayne are the distant cousins. Yeah, so right now you think, Nolan, they have a 10% chance of a Mill Wayne winning a Cyber 500.
I mean, hey, Mill Wayne, which one, right? I mean, you can kind of throw it around, but a lot of those Mill Waynes, they know how to work together. We saw them working together. There was 2 in one duel, 2 in the other. So they kind of know how each other drive. 2 brothers and then 2 cousins as well to the family. If those 4 Mill Waynes can get linked up, they're going to be an unstoppable force.
Yeah, that will be an unstoppable force if they can get linked up, assuming that they all, want that to happen, right? So we'll see how that goes here. But now Eric Anderson is going to lead the field around. The Panama City, Florida native, doing a great job leading this top pack, getting pushed by the 55.
Greg Mitchell leading the way. He's going to jump down low as Heinzman will now lose the lead. So Heinzman a good run up front, but Mitchell quickly drive to the point, and getting into the mix of all of these guys is now Gary Bowman. Finished second in the 4th annual Cyber 500 in 2024. As Bowman now works the bottom lane, seeing if he can't get some momentum going for him.
I remember Bowman was the pole setter. He got that spot based on the initial day of single car qualifying and did have to run part of the duels, but I mean, was locked in no matter where he finished in the duels. So it was kind of a quiet night, relaxing for him to be able to kind of have that security blanket, if you will, have that safety blanket. But again here, now here's the 55, now going to try to get around Heinzman. And man, Heinzman's really been up front and pushing hard here ever since stage 2 began, Nolan.
Well, I think he's taken the strategy since he did pivot the caution. Just run that tank dry, come down a pit road, and then run it dry until the end of stage number 2. Look at the aggressive jump down low for him and Chris Legou. Twin GNA Motorsports drivers coordinated together to control both lines of the racetrack right now. Stiverson, though, jumping up to the high side, is going to push up to 3rd. And looking like Stiverson looking to try to retake the lead up front.
See if we can make this happen, and we can make that happen here. Working lap 73. And this field, by the way, this is an impressive field for the Cyber 500, not just because of maybe the driver skills, but all the weird stats about it. So we have relatives in the race. Obviously, we have the 4 Mill Waynes. We had the 2 Shermans before their internet dropped out. So, I mean, it's 6-year drivers in some way. Not all related, but related to each other somehow. There are 10 Canadians in this field, Nolan. In the States, and in Canada, we just lived through the 4 Nations playoff here this week, part of the NHL All-Star break, you want to call it that. Well, we sort of have like a 4 Nations face-off here of a 40-car field. We have at least 10 Canadians in this race today.
The furthest one among them is Matthew Simple, the part-time motorsports driver, currently running at the number 6 spot up top. He has just dropped down to 7th, though, that red and white car up on the high side of the racetrack. So you see Simple trying to make some moves. He's the 3rd in line up on the outside row. You know, you usually don't see a lot of Canadians in these kinds of stock car fields, right? You'll see like maybe 2, maybe 3 at most, but having 10, I mean, I like to see it. I mean, let's get some Canadian representation on the iRacing services. This is awesome to see.
Yeah, we have, I think, 17 different states represented in this race. Virginia, New Jersey, Indiana, New York, South Carolina, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Texas, Colorado, Vermont, Michigan, Georgia, Kentucky, Delaware, North Dakota, of all places, and Alabama. 17 different states represented in this field. And here's the one that caught me the most this morning when you and I were doing our research pre-race. Of the drivers who filled out the bios we handed out earlier this week, the average age of this field, Nolan, is 39 and a half years old. That is not the stereotype we think of sim racing. People think this is the young man's game. The kids get in here in the race and the kids have a good time. We have multiple drivers over 50. Hold on, caution's out. We'll come back to these stats in a little bit. And, oh, car turned around.
Looking like at least a two-car crash. Aussie Millwane around again. You're looking at Dakota Wilkins, one of the drivers that was streaming from their perspective live on YouTube today. So looking like that it could have gone better, I think, would be putting it mildly.
Yeah, we'll need to see what exactly happened and who needs to apologize to who as the replay machine spools up here in just a moment. But, well, for those drivers who maybe didn't pit on the stage break, hold on.
We just had another car crash under. Whoa, what is going on back here? Three cars down to the inside, and now we got a crash under the yellow.
I don't
careful,
have
guys. What are you? Whoa, my.
Words for that. That's.
What is going on? Okay, how about this? Let's do this one at a time. Let's figure out what the heck happened to Millwane first.
This will be the one that brings out the caution. There's Millwane up front in that yellow car. There's Jason Dinsmore. These guys had trouble earlier. I'm not saying that's going to be it there. But let's watch this first, and then we'll come back and find the confusion under yellow. So there's Millwane. There's Dinsmore. They both move up top. Nothing here so far, but I think it's going to come up in just a moment. Oh, Dinsmore.
It was ahead. Somebody was already
There's a car
around.
ahead of them.
Wow.
Yeah, the car's
oh boy.
That's not good.
And that was Wilkins that had initially gone into the outside wall, and poor Aussie Millwane had nothing to do with that. He just kind of got run into the wreck. So this is what happened to Wilkins.
He's going to get inside the Oreo machine, and they're going to make contact. They both save it. Oh, no. What in the world? Like that? Oh, second hit. But, I mean, for a car that had it saved, it sort of snapped like that. It's super confusing. Right now,
this is the back. So Larry Bell got run over.
Well, that car in the back, I'm just going to say it out loud, and I try to be somewhat non-confrontational. That's not an accident.
I don't know what could have possibly happened to cause all of that. And then this is up here catching to the pace car. Watch for the 33 of Jarrett Kimelli. Holy cow! The 41.
That's not an accident.
What the heck was that? Was Andy Cork? That is.
Now, let me play devil's advocate. We do have a report from the Irish Service that he quote-unquote dropped out, which is our terminology within iRacing for bad connection. But that's not. I've been on the iRacing service for 10 years, maybe 9 years. I've never seen a bad connection do that. Like, if he's going to drop through, he would blink and he would leave.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Shame on you. That is disgraceful.
Maybe I'm wrong. That does happen, but I think that the dropping of the connection is after, but I can't timestamp them. It doesn't let me do that, but I don't know. That's. I'm trying to find nice words. That's Larry Bell getting run over. There's some other cars.
Nice words to give. I mean, I don't have nice words to give. If you know you're having connection problems, you don't just run onto the track and plow through everybody like that. Come on.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. So
it's ruined a lot of people's races with that.
Yeah, a lot of confusion, lots of chaos. Lights are out there. We're going to go green flag racing. It's going to be Dalton Kilroe, Dustin Ping, Mike Stuyvesant, Chris Wold, Lee Campbell. Your top five. Mackenzie Millwane is going to be up. By the way, to finish up that stat, Mackenzie Bilway, by the way, youngest driver in the field at 19 years old. That's weird to me, by the way. That's the youngest at 19. And what I mean by that is I'm surprised that it's not like, it's not uncommon to have 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds in iRacing. I'm surprised somehow that 19 is the youngest. And I'm trying to kind of just talk here, and I know you and I are both kind of still trying to figure some things out and kind of gather some thoughts because of what happened. And the field is silent on the radio. You can tell they're all still kind of stunned and confused about what happened here with Andy Cork. And listen, I like to benefit of the doubt. Maybe Andy did have some internet problems. Maybe it is more than it seems, but that's unfortunate for Larry Bell and others who got spun around.
Well, we're getting set to go back to GreenFlag Racing. Dalton Kilroy and Dustin Ping, two drivers fighting for the High Tide Racing League MFRD Premier Series Championship. They'll be going head-to-head at the Phoenix Raceway tomorrow, actually, for the closing race in the round of 8. Both trying to make it into the final 4 of that race, but for now, they got to duke it out for a win in Stage 2 for the 5th Annual Cyber 500 as we're back to green. Pushing up for the bottom side, Mike Stiverson trying to sidetrack the top lane a little bit more. Here's Chris Wold, the underdog racing driver, was up front for much of this race as he tries to rip it through. As cars finally get up to speed, let's take a listen into some of the sights and sounds from Daytona. Chris Wold has jumped to the bottom side. He leads the way for the 5th Annual Cyber 500. Dustin Ping, the main pusher for him. Then you got Lee Campbell up top. He is now being pushed by the 27 entry up on the high side of the racetrack. You're just tuning in. Welcome to GreenFlagTV and the Cyber Thunder Racing League for the season opening round Every round afterwards being covered by the OSR Network and Joe White. So hop over to them if you want to check out the rest of the season after tonight.
By the way, Chris Wold is up here helping lead this field. Should point out, I think we've given a lot of focus to Edward Jurgen last year's Cyber 500 winner, but Chris Wold won it 2 years ago, so he knows how to get around here. The Atlanta, Georgia native, doing a great job at leading this group around. By the way, not only is he racing sim racing, Nolan, Chris Wold has multiple first place finishes with his local SCCA club there down near Atlanta. So Chris not only has the virtual experience, but has the real life experience to go with it as he currently runs third in the 2025 Cyber 500.
Catching up on the SCCA Speed Tour. I got a bunch of races on backlog that I'm trying to work my way through the middle of the week, so I'll make sure to kind of add that to the list. You said he races out of Atlanta?
He's from Atlanta, so I'm not unsure where he races from, but yeah, he lists his hometown as Atlanta, Georgia, so I'm not sure what the closest SCCA club will be for him.
Probably Road Atlanta then, or Road America, actually. No,
Road America, Wisconsin.
Yeah, okay.
You silly Canadian.
Listen, I hear Road America, I hear Road Atlanta. Obviously, they must be close to each other,
They must be close,
right?
yeah.
You would think. Not, like, what, 5, 6, 7 states away?
At least, yeah.
Geography.
Chris.
Oh, boy,
Oh.
Wold. Getting hip-checked by Campbell.
Almost got Wold over there in the middle of the pack. You're welcome.
I'm not sure if I need to give you credit for that or not. Boy.
I was going to say, question for the chat. No, I did not. For the information we got pre-race, there's not a single Ohio native. There's no one representing the Buckeye State or your 2025 national champion Ohio State Buckeyes in this race. So no Ohio natives in this field that we're aware of. Here's one car down pit road. That's a 70.
Donahue. Started this race in 23rd and now throwing away competition in favor of a pit stop here. 14 and a half laps away from halfway. We've been making good time so far this afternoon. Oh, careful as Mackenzie Milway tried to shut out Lee Campbell from the lead, and Campbell wasn't having it.
I'm going to read a statement from Andy Cork. Apologies to everyone. All of a sudden, everyone disappeared, and then I was booted from the sim. Hate that it happened, and feel bad for anyone that got damaged from that. Andy Cork in the YouTube chat live posting that message, so it does sound more and more like possibly there's some internet, difficulties there for Andy that led to those collisions. And unfortunately for Andy, I would suspect out of the races he's typing in YouTube chats, but a bad moment there. But back up front, there's Milwayne. I said they had a 10% chance of winning one of these. We got a Milwayne in first, got a Milwayne in second, and got a Mitchell in third. It's a 3M race here in the Cyber 500.
Milwayne, Mitchell, Burnett running up on the which Milwayne? Right, we have Mackenzie Milwayne up top, Ethan Milwayne down on the low side of the racetrack, trying to make some ground happen. Oh man, these guys are getting bolder and bolder with that outside wall at a turn 4 and to the tri-wall. It's making me nervous.
Yeah, a little bit. By the way, these Milwaynes up front, Mackenzie and Ethan, these are the brothers. So that green car and that yellow car are the brothers that are Milwaynes. So we'll see if they can get hooked back up. And man, the moves are, you're right, the moves are getting wild. The way they're kind of snapping it off the corners, the way they're running up the hill, the way they're getting close to the wall. So they're lap 180, or not 180, they're racing like it's 188, but it's really lap 88 here. And then they got one car, is that music stuck up top? In the blue and white, or the blue and yellow, pardon me?
And music is up on the high side right now. Dustin Ping just underneath him. And you got the 61 that's kind of in the mix as well. That is Leroy Koblenz, a driver that is now a lap down as a result of the caution that came about a little while ago. Meanwhile, Milwayne, Mitchell, Burnett, Milwayne and Milwayne for the top 5. Good luck.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's here again, it's Mackenzie up front, and it's Ethan back there in P5, so P4, pardon me. And then, yeah, you got Mitchell and Burnett in between them. But this has now become a single file race again. Look at that back shot here as the camera looks around. I mean, that's a long line of cars here, just being patient at Daytona. And lap 77 is when everyone is pitted up front here. So there you go. So everyone here is on pitted lap 77. That's 13 laps to go. So fuel's out of the question. Everyone's on the same fuel strategy. And we're just going to wait and see. So 77 plus 35 is 107, 112-ish is when we'll see our next round of pit stops if we stay green. I did that without taking my socks off, by the way.
Good for you. Single file for most of the field.
Caution's out.
Is out. Into the outside wall goes. Music comes down and takes out the 7 of Sweezy.
And Sweezy is just
through the ringer today. Credit to him for sticking with it and not quitting so easily.
I was thinking, like, Dalton Kilroe thought he was like the car magnet for the duels, but I mean, Sweezy, well, Music got turned around by Tanner Marr, and Tanner Marr's already claimed fault for the wreck. Music's gonna do a couple pirouettes here.
Just tried to clear himself down to the bottom, and I mean, hey, car low. You can't just force a way in there then, man. I'm going to say there's not a whole lot the 09 can do there. That banking is steep, and you're kind of just along for the ride.
You're along for the ride. You're exactly right.
Wrong place, wrong time. Let's take another look at it. This one will be at speed, and Watcher's Music is just going to come down the racetrack here.
And it's just a case. It's a case where he moved up, and Tanner Marr tried to close in a gap. I mean, to assign fault there is kind of weird, but watch this here. Oh.
Look at that right front being knocked out again.
I know, right? If we can go back to the original wreck, though, that's what happens when you drift up at Daytona and you sort of break that drafting line, is that car behind you really kind of starts to suck in that spot. And that's what Tanner Marr is going to do here. Now, this is going to be the original. Here's, people trying to avoid it.
Here we go.
Here it is. So how he moves up, now what happens is Tanner Marr gets a small bit of draft on the 45, starts to close in that hole, and then the 09 kind of changes his mind last second, but that door had closed, Nolan Rimple, and oh boy, speaking of the doors closing. Again, I say, Dalton Kilroe felt like the car magnet in the duels. That 7 car has found about every car possible today, I think, in a wreck.
On board with Chris Letts, I think managed to just barely get out of this.
Look up ahead and you'll see the wreck about to form, I do believe.
This is the lap before. Here we go. There you see it starting.
Smokes, check it down. He's doing a good job. He's already in the brakes, up at the top wall. There's nowhere to go. I mean, oh my God.
That'll wake you up.
I'll tell you what is it, maybe 10 a.m. here in the West Coast? What is it now?
10:30.
10:30, yeah.
Well, if you weren't awake already, hope you are.
He is, I'll tell you that. Chris Lutz is definitely awake after that. Boy, oh boy. But hey, good credit to him, by the way. He got that car checked down. He was doing all the right things. Just the whole top lane clogged up, and, you know, it was just hard to get down there knowing there's a wreck happening. But hey, by the way, Eric Anderson is leading this race here. We were kind of focused on everybody else, lap 92. So he's doing a great job here, having this fun here.
And he is going to be able to stay up there just a little bit more for now. Take yourselves a quick step back. When we return, it's more racing action on GreenFlagTV as we close in on halfway.
What's up, everybody? We're taking a break in this exciting race to tell you a little bit about Savage Edge. You can go to our link here, www.savageedge.com, or our Facebook here. So we're about to tell you a little bit what Savage Edge does. Have you ever wanted to put your face on a t-shirt or maybe your iRacing car? Well, we can do that for you at Savage Edge. Take a look at our direct-to-garment printer. Did you just get excited about what you see on a t-shirt? Well, we got more for you. What about embroidered hats? Everybody loves a good hat. Look at this. We also do beanies that double as kitten holders. There's also so much more we can do here at Savage Edge. Vinyl graphics, coffee mugs, koozies. We basically can put your name on anything. So go to savageedge.com and check out our Facebook. Back to the race.
Set to go back to Green Flag Racing. Going to be 7 laps shy of the halfway point. A lot of action to talk about so far in this one. Cautions, though, were started to quickly mount after we went almost the first quarter of this race clean.
Yep, so right now you're going to see Stephen Burnett is going to come around here and lead this field around. I'm going to have his note out, by the way, Nola. He's a father of 2, 19 years of service on the force as a law enforcement agent out of Greer, South Carolina. And he is about to take the green flag here at beginning of lap 94 in the Cyber 500.
The Simhouse E-Racing number 5 with his Chevy Camaro enters the Geico restart zone 8 laps before halfway. And with still about 28 to go in the stage, 27 to go in the stage, green flag is in the air. Once again, a lot of separation in this pack early on. What do you make of this?
It's a lot of people not prepared for restarts is all I can really make of it. But it's all I can think is, like, how and why us. Like, we can talk about it when the next restart happened off the stage, how to properly restart this race. Apparently, some people are missing the boat. Here's, by the way, Dalton Kilroy won stage 1 as we start to get towards the second half of stage 2. It's finding himself back up front behind that 20 car. There's Bowman to the inside, your pole sitter. He wants to be up front. It's like everyone knows it's about go time. And here comes that Oreo car to the inside. And I think Gibson now is going to lead us a lap, or he'll be prepared to lead the next lap at Daytona.
Boy, wouldn't that be something for Dalton Kilroy, right? Had to kind of run his way to the qualifying race, had to bail from that qualifying race to contend for a championship in the High Tide Racing League. Goes from that to crashing out early in duel number 1. And if he can turn that around and go for the clean sweep, win both stages, and take the race win, and I believe still holds the fastest lap of this race as well, that would be astonishing for the turnaround for that number 24.
Yeah, can't confirm. Dalton Kilroy, 45.928 is the fastest lap in this race. But boy, that bottom lane is moving. Look at that. I mean, they have left Cody Gibson and others behind. Here's Burnett, King, Simple, Bowman doing a great job pushing this bottom lane around.
Burnett running up top with Dustin Ping. Now looking for the lead. Ping goes up high. And Simple will pick up the number 2 spot from behind. Lot of lap traffic in the way. This is going to get dicey here real quick, Derek, as I like what they're doing. They're keeping to the outside. That is crucial, right? They are being predictable, making sure they're not too much in the way, but giving themselves a chance to still file in with the rest of this pack. That is about as good as that could have gone.
Talk about the tale of 2 races. By look at that car getting lapped up top there. That's a car that we saw up front earlier in this race. That sort of old Richard Petty style paint scheme. And now here he is riding around, getting lapped here at number 43 machine at Eric Anderson. How is he lapped down? He led when we went to break.
He pitted on the green.
He pitted under caution, I thought, when the Savage Edge commercial was playing.
He did, but then he pitted again on lap 94, just 2 laps after we went green.
Yeah, must have had a penalty. That's too bad. So, I mean, the good news for him, we're only a few laps away from our next stage break, so maybe he can hang on and be the lucky dog. But boy, Dustin Ping, a regular on Monday nights in the High Tide Racing League here up front. It's got Simple behind him, Bowman, Burnett, Stuyvesant, look how long. Remember, we were too wide a lap and a half ago, and now I think we're 5 cars ahead of that before we find too wide racing in this field.
3 laps to go before the halfway mark. Dustin Ping leading the way. Semple in second. Bowman in third. Then it's Burnett and Stiverson for the top 5. Up high, Campbell leads the outside line now. A bit more separation starting to form up there down to the inside of the racetrack.
Well, they're starting to form here. We'll see who can lead this top lane around. Oh boy.
Careful.
Thought Cody Gibson was going to dig inside there and just sort of pass that car ahead of him when it got a little squirrely, but I guess not. Now the lanes are moving.
There we go. Look at the 5 quickly jumping up top. Stephen Burnett wants to get back to the point. Gary Bowman wants to go with them.
Now, Bowman's undecided. That's the most dangerous part of super speed racing, in my opinion. And I talked about at the beginning of this race, you have to make snap decisions here, not just mentally, but physically. Because look what Bowman did. He thought about it, he hesitated, and he sort of checked it up bottom lane. Here comes Dustin Ping up top to start lap 100.
And as we start lap 100, we will have to take a quick step from the racing action. We'll keep with this fight, but want to just kind of bring something to attention. We've been requested to bring to the attention for the Cyber Thunder Racing League. As we approach line 1-1 of the 2025 Cyber 500, we would like to take a moment to send our well wishes, thoughts, and prayers to longtime member of Cyber Thunder, Dave Gainford. Currently battling a very serious medical condition. He has been a part of this long-standing league since 2018, over 400 starts. Dave would have become the only driver in Cyber Thunder Racing League history to participate in all 5 Cyber 500s, but today he is fighting a different battle. Dave, from your friends and family here at the Cyber Thunder Racing League, we are going to dedicate this next lap to you.
Unfortunately, Nolan, on this dedication lap, caution flag is out. Multiple calls of wrecking across the driver radios. You see some cars on the bottom of the track here in 3 and 4, and we'll need to sort it out in this moment. I do want to say, see Dalton Kilroy on the bottom of the racetrack. One thing I love about sim racing, Nolan, is the emotions and the tributes we get to do in our own way, not just through the broadcast feeds, but through our paints on our race cars, liveries, or the paints, depending on which way you want to call it, our post-race interviews and what have. And so to be able to honor a member of the Cyber Thunder Racing League who's been here a long time, that's an amazing thing to get to do. It means a lot to a lot of people. It means a lot to us to be a part of it. And I hope Dave is back with us soon here on the track. Well, caution's out for the 5th time. This is the 3rd time for a wreck, and let's watch what's going to happen. Let's see Dalton Kilroy's in the bottom. And look up top, I think, so it's going to come. Look at that 20, he's getting pushed off center. No. I suspect that's where it's coming from in just a second here, Nolan.
Oh, no, up front. Dustin Ping got hooked for the lead.
No, you're right. I was watching the bad bump, but I missed Dustin Ping get turned around. I apologize. Bowman got collected. I think the 5 got collected. The 1 barely got any damage. All just Dalton Kilroy around. When it's in front of the field, this is massive.
Yeah, that is the
Kilroy's
big
gonna
one.
Get hit. Oh, boy.
I mean, that's the big one, plain and simple. It happens every super speedway race. Last time, it really took us until about the final lap for us to get the big one. But this time, getting out of the way right at the halfway mark.
Yeah, and you do hope this is the big one, because, I mean, look at this. It's going to be a bad push in the pusher situation. I think it starts back at the 8 with Bowman. Pushing a car ahead of him is pushing and pushing and pushing, and that's just not how science works, guys. Everyone's not going to stay straight in that moment. And you see the results of it live on track. Watch this, Bowman 4 cars back, I think. It's going to give a bump, or is it just 3 cars back?
16, yeah. You're right.
No, you're right. You're right. I got the bad perspective. I saw Bowman hop out of line from that backward-facing camera. But you're right. He had nothing to do with it. He's just a victim. It's the 16 pushing on the car behind Ping, and then Ping just got looped around, and then all hell broke loose from there, unfortunately.
Right on board here with Michael Murphy, what he saw, as he is just going to sneak through the start of that.
Maybe a small nick on the front, and then wow.
Now this right here, this next on board, this is going to be a very familiar sight. Right on board of Ed Jurgen, as he takes home the drive right down to the inside as they crash it up. Whoa, boy! Now that is extremely reminiscent of, careful, well, never mind, not quite so lucky, but that is very reminiscent, though, of what happened during last year's 2000.
Oh boy. And unfortunately, too many Daytona finishes in this way, and then, oh my God, look at the cars just pirouetting and spinning off the ground and everything there, and that's how Edward Jurgen won last year in the Cyber 500. And look at that. Oh boy, snipped right under there.
It wasn't over there either, because now you look at what happened. This was with the leaders off of turn number 2. Jurgen again, front row seat, and at that point, it was all bets are off. Foot to the floor, drove through, and was just able to pick off that number 2 car for a great win. That's how he won last year's run of the Cyber 500.
That's something. That's the best way to say that. So here's some cars coming down pit road. There's Bowman coming down again. He'll try to get, I'm assuming, some more damage fixed and assess just how beat up that car is here under yellow.
So Gary Bowman takes to pit road once more. It's a big crash up in turn number 3. When it is under the yellow flag once more, but getting set to go back to it.
Well, we're only about, 15, 16 laps from the next stage break, so you could almost argue here it's just all-out racing for a few moments. Watch it again here. This is going to be Dalton Kilrow in the bottom. This is going to be behind the wreck, and this is how short a time they're going to have to respond to it. There's the wreck, and Kilrow had nowhere to go. He's trying to check up for the car in front of him and do the right thing, and then someone just ran him over.
About a dozen cars or so getting some kind of damage out of that. Could have been worse, could have been a lot better, but our first major pileup of the night.
And hopefully our last major pop of the night. I'll say it out loud. Hopefully the last. And if you're one of these cars up front, you're definitely hoping it's the last as well here. So we got Simple, Murphy, Bell, Jurgen, and Heinzman, your top 5 here.
Derek, it's Daytona and it's a 500-mile race. You have a lot of faith for this to be the last one of the night.
Oh, I know. So right now, your leader up front, winner last year in the Cybertruck League at Texas. So has had an experience winning before. By the way, don't mess with him. Don't make fun of him, Nolan. He is a 2nd-degree black belt in karate.
Boy.
And he's prepared for Daytona because he has won, he said to me, multiple figure 8 demolition demo derby. So he's prepared for the calamity Daytona.
Figure 8 demo derby, 500-mile super speedway race. Yeah, I can see it.
I mean, we've called the Daytona demo derby before. Green Flag's back out, though, and he's going to try to lead the field. And that's the best restart you and I have seen in maybe 4 or 5 cautions now. Everyone's bundled together. No big gaps in the lines.
But you know why that is, right? Stage break only 16 laps away. It's a mad scramble now to pick out stage points to close out stage number 2. And well, from there it's going to be a 75 lap blast to the end. So this is the last point for drivers to pick up those bonus points before the end of the race.
Right now, Simple appears to be in prime position. There's Larry Bell behind him. And then they get 2 wide racing. Then it's Caldwell and Murphy. And yellow flag's out somewhere in the back of the field. Oh, boy. There's the time machine.
Calamity Corner, just pretty much every single crash and every caution we've seen has been in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, and Jason Dinsmore involved here. Saw him on the outside of that Tide machine.
Where is this one come about from then? As Carlo, indecision, jumping at us again.
Yep. Oh, Dinsmore.
Man.
Nowhere to go.
The 61 just barely got nicked, and he is going to get the outside wall.
Yeah, unfortunately. So Dinsmore, by the way, someone else you might be interested to know, also has ran race cars. It's been a while. Ran them in the Canadian Vintage Modified Division in Ontario between 2005 and 2010. So another real-life racer here in the field, but he just got crushed on the outside. Again, right there he is, and boom, that's how fast it happens. Nowhere to go. We thought he was doing the right thing. That's likely to be a lot of damage to this car. And boy, Dinsmore, he's been involved in 2 or 3 incidents today.
Yeah, tough break for this field. This is on board with Spencer Johnson. As look at all that indecision, though, right? I mean, you even hear Johnson lifting once or twice because he's not sure what he's going to do, but you can't lift forever. You got to keep the draft ahead of you. Sooner or later, you got to go. And he kind of guessed wrong on what he was going to do, but I would have put that on Johnson.
Yeah, luckily I'm not in the job of assigning. I despise that job more than anything is sim racing. I've done my fair share of race stewarding for the Majors 24, a couple other 500s I don't want to talk about, and some other. It's a difficult job. I still have PTSD from that one 500. I won't talk about it.
Yeah, it's one
some people finish on the podium in that 500. That's all I'll say.
Oh boy, that's a story I imagine that I might ask about later. But Jared Camelli will take up the lucky dog for lounge racing. And that leaves us now with still 28 cars out of 40 on the lead lap. Back in a moment. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
That's the one thing about this. I was gonna say every time we go yellow, we put another car back in the lead lap. We keep gaining cars in the lead lap at Daytona. That's not the way this typically works, right?
It is how it is, right? I mean, you get a lot of cars that go laps down. You get a few more cautions. You get some of them back onto the lead lap. By the way, we are set to exceed the caution count from last year's race. We were up, I think, only about 7 cautions in total throughout all of last season. We're already at 6, and we just passed the halfway point. And critically, 4 of them have come in the last 30 laps or so.
And that perspective, it changes from where you are on the track, right? If you're someone up front, Simple, Bell, Caldwell, Murphy, you're probably okay with a few more cautions, slowing this race down, less passes, less danger. If you're someone towards the back of this field, if you're a Campbell, a Carter Lawson, an Eric Anderson, and Gary Bowman, you're probably hoping, the stage green so you can make up some spots. All right, well, once again, we're going to go green flag racing again. I have to say it, we're not that far from the stage break. Although lap 120 is the actual stage break. Race control has designated lap 115 as that tipping point, meaning if we get there and the yellow comes out, they'll just call the stage early.
Now is that start of 115 or the end of 115?
It's a great question that I probably should have asked about 3 hours ago in race prep, but I did not ask that question. We're just going to go with 115. I expect it's the start because, with the number of laps you do in yellow, I think they're trying to prevent any kind of calamity, silliness for a stage win. So
yeah,
we'll see
those
if
one-lap sprints. As we have a crash under caution again. If I had a nickel for every time, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it's happened twice.
All right, green flag's been called off. We are going to go yellow another time around. I know, right? Surprise, surprise.
Blentz, Rose, and Camelli. This is what happened. As I don't know what to tell you.
I'm going to call this I could be wrong. That looked like texting and driving, but he did disappear right afterwards. So I don't. What is the number on that car on the bottom? Can you give a number for me?
44.
The 24.
44. Dakota Wilkins. Let's ride on board. You know what? He's actually got a live stream up. I could go and consult that and see what was going on.
Well, he's now on pit road. I can tell you that. So maybe he towed out of embarrassment. But that looks like texting and trust me, as someone who's tried to text and drive under yellow here, it is not an easy task to send a message.
Well,
I may be wrong.
Try.
Well, sometimes you gotta tell someone something, you know. It's. Listen, well, I won't say that. I'll say it nicer. When you have a partner who wants to know what's for dinner.
Okay. So I have checked the. I've checked his stream. That is a hardware failure. His wheel went dead straight inside the car for him.
And that's the other possibility. Yeah, you know that does make sense because he did pull hard to the right, which is typically the telltale sign of that happening. By the way, Jason Dinsmore has finally called it a day. He has disconnected from the race. He will not win the Cyber 500. But here we are pacing around here under yellow. Now we're working on lap 109. We'll start 1010 with the lights out. Again, Simple, Bell, Caldwell, Murphy, Heinzman. Heinzman's found his way back up front here. So we'll see if the winner of stage 2 comes from one of these drivers or someone outside the top 5 who gets aggressive.
So does this count as caution 7 runner now or number 6? Our overlay says
We're
6.
still 6. Yeah, we're still under 6. We never went green.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I can respect that as a criteria. You have to take the green flag.
Well, I suspect we're going to see a couple drivers get aggressive here because, I mean, there's no reason not to. You're trying to get up here. And after stage 2, it's all about winning the Cyber 500. So you want to set yourself in a good spot here for when we come down pit road at the end of the stage, when we have everything happen. Yeah, again, we're still pacing around. And boy, when you are green flag racing for a long time to Daytona, and you right around here under pacing, I'm going to say to you, pacing, you know, is 75 or 70 miles an hour, pardon. But when you've been going 190 or 200 around this field, 70 feels like a baby crawl.
Which is wild, because that's faster than you typically go on the interstate. Green flag up in the air, this time by Simple, jumps on the loud pedal, we're back to green. This time 11 laps to go. Outside lane, no momentum right now. Simple, Caldwell, Heinzman. 1, 2, 3 down low, and tucking in line will be the 05 of Larry Bell.
Oh, don't worry, not long for now. That top lane will form again. Someone's going to want to move up there. Someone's going to want to move up and make some things happen. Well, that 46 is all over the back of the 15. That's Caldwell doing a great job at pushing Simple around this track. And that top lane's forming. That's a Millwane up top, I do believe. Just needs probably 1, maybe 2 cars to jump up and help him out. But he might get that momentum running all by himself. Let's see if he can make his way to the front here.
Gary Bowman coming down pit road. Have to imagine that's for a penalty of some sort. Why else would you pit on a restart with only 10 laps to go in stage number 2? By the way, we talked a lot about...
black flag.
Black flag confirmed. All right. We talk a lot about a lot of the diversity in this field, about where drivers are from this afternoon, with there being quite a few Canadians in this field. It's been a mixed day for the Canadian drivers. Out of the 11 that started this race, 6 of them are out of the race, but the other 5 are already in the top 10. 4 of them in the top 5.
Yep. They're doing a pretty good job here, are the Canadians. And a little, like I said, split of how it's going, but right now Simple's leading him around and doing a good job. Here comes, nope, I thought that fireball machine was going to dip out of line. That 4th car in Murphy thought maybe he was going to help the top lane, but he decided against it. That 97 did.
Under 10 laps to go, rapidly approaching the point where we would get to the end of the stage if we had another yellow flag in hand. Only 3 cars right now working the top side. Those drivers are Ed Jurgen. You got the 37 of Ethan Millwane. You've also got Chris Rose up top. By the way, want to talk a moment about Larry Bell. Remember him? He kind of had that bad pit stop run on the first long green flag run. Actually went a lap down. Somewhere in the mix of all of this, he's gotten back on the lead lap, and he is now right back to where he started in the top 5.
Yeah, we got his lap back under one of the cars since when he stayed out and took the free pass, took the wave around. But at one point, he was helping Dalton Kilrow get to the front at the end of stage 1, so Larry Bell has been up and down the field. Now look at this, Heinzman's up here. He wants to lead. Now Simple who's pulled up. He's trying to control the momentum that top lane has. And you can tell these guys know that we're getting close to a stage break. Watch for someone to dip in front of the bottom lane. Watch for someone to want to make that move down and see if they can control the bottom lane and kind of leave Simple behind. I don't think it'll be Heinzman. I think he's too far out. Maybe Jurgen? Oh, that's behind him. Even Milwing can pull down and control that bottom lane and see if he can make a run to the front. I'm surprised no one has, but that bottom lane is falling fast.
Yeah, no kidding. It is not going well right now for the inside line. That outside lane is on an absolute tear right now. Up top, Heinzman and Simple. Oh boy, starting to move around a lot up top. And oh, we got problems back straight away. Round goes the 46. Round goes the 97. Another major incident on the back straightaway. This time on the approach to turn 3. We did not get to the point of no return though.
This is not the stage. Race control Tom Richter just confirmed this is not the stage break. So, boy, oh boy. He said he had made an announcement. Pits will stay open. They're not going to close as we get closer to the end of the stage. But let's watch it. Here's a fireball machine in 97. Got off center with the 46. Sent him around. And then the 46 tumbled back around and caught the fireball machine. So both got involved in this wreck. Others involved. Boy, oh boy.
All things considered, that could have been a much worse crash than it was. Only ended up being about a 4-car crash on the back chute. But yeah, it's the same situation, right? Drivers get a little bit impatient off center, and in that situation, you did have 2 tires below the double yellow line. It'll cost you.
Yeah, boy. Now, so now it's good to see that a couple of the cars you saw in the grass, including Anderson, not really wrecked like I thought initially, maybe feared, just cars who were trying to avoid the wreck on track. So you're right, only a couple cars involved, all things considered. And boy, I cannot believe, no way. I would not have put money on this. Simple, Heinzman, and others are going to come down here. I thought for sure we'd race for the stage 2 win, but for these guys, apparently it's just about winning, because these guys are going to throw away stage 2. And am I reading this right? The car wrecked earlier, Dalton Kilrow, back to the front of the field.
You, my friend, would be correct. Still got quite a bit of dirt on the front of that grill from the incident of the race. But he is still very much up in the running with these guys.
And this is the beauty sometimes of racing, and this is why, while we have no fun under caution, this is sort of that other side of it that can be fun. And here we are talking strategy. I think I didn't think we talked about 2 laps or 3 laps before the stage ends. I had no idea. I'm flabbergasted that people pitted here, like beyond stunned that people pitted here. I just, wow. Well, here we go. Let's line it up here. Now it's going to be Lockrow and Kilrow, the rhyming names up front. Bell, Mitchell, Rose, your top 5. And again, isn't it funny? We just talked about Larry Bell and Dalton Kilrow being connected, and here they are back up front again. Is Larry Bell going to push Dalton Kilrow to a 2nd stage win?
Possibility is there. Would not be the most unheard of thing in the world. I mean, we saw how Gary Bowman pushed Ed Jurgen to a win for the overall race last season. So, and the chance is always going to be there. Working yellow flag number 7, though, this afternoon. The cautions have been getting up there the last little while, and officially, no matter what, we are breaking the record for the caution count that we had from last year. We had 7 total. We still got 1 guaranteed yellow in us tonight.
Yeah, about 2 laps from now, right? So, yeah, we know we got that left in us, and we'll see. Of course, you know, as you said, last year, I believe you said the Cyber 500 did not have stages, so inherently, you know, you think we'd be a little bit more likely to break this record, but who knows? But a couple things to look forward to. We have confirmed, as you confirmed on the stream, that 44 had a wheel disconnect. That's why he wrecked under yellow. We are going to talk to Andy Cork under the stage break, and we're going to get his understanding of what happened with the disconnect and kind of let him explain his point of view. So poor Andy's been waiting for a while for an interview. We told him it would be under the stage break, and these guys are doing their best to delay the Andy Cork interview as best they can. Not on purpose, of course, but sort of in a humorous way. Thanks to Andy for being a trooper and hanging out and waiting for that. But Nolan, I want to take a moment here and talk about a super speedway restart. You and I talked about it. I've had some frustrations with it today. We ride on board with someone here. There's ways to do it, and the biggest key to a super speedway restart is being on the back of someone. Look up here at the top lane. See how close the 5 already is to the car in front of him? That's how close you want to be. If you can see anything other than the bumper in front of you on a restart, you're too far back.
I think the best way to kind of figure out how to restart a race would be, like you said, right on board of the guy, and what better view to get than right from the helmet camera with exactly what the driver sees out of the windshield.
So I would even debate right now, Larry Bell needs to close up more here on the back of lock row. And again, from your front windshield, if you can see anything other than the back of that bumper, you're too far back. And that's going to create gaps in this drafting line. Now, I don't want to... it's possible Larry Bell wants to let Dalton Kilrow in or get in behind Dalton Kilrow. But again, he is getting a little closer, and I'm going to wait for it to time it correctly. Green flag. That's a pretty good restart right there from Daytona for Larry Bell.
Jumping on the lap panel, see him starting to work through the gears, but oh boy, inside lane doesn't go. Look at Kilrow just getting out in front with courtesy of Greg Mitchell as you take 3 to go in the stage. And up high, it's the number 24, shoved by the 55.
Yeah, you're right. That bottom lane, pardon me, did not go. The top lane is. When will they move down? That's my question. Kilrow, Mitchell, Burnett, even Richter. When will they move? Oh, there it is. That's the move I thought was coming. Mitchell and others. Burnett has left Kilrow behind. He missed the notes. He missed the memo, if you will. And he will likely get shuffled back here towards the end of stage 2 of the Cyber 500.
2 laps to go. Pit road is close. Looking down low is the 5. Up high. And Jurgen solo charge. Lead to the Crusade. Up 3 wide on the high side as we get set to close out stage number 2. But no help. He's going to be stuck in the sucker hole up top.
Kilrow got saved by Mitchell. Mitchell moved up and helped that second lane, and he really gave the draft to Dalton Kilrow. I don't know that I would do that, but hey, that's what he did. Dalton Kilrow is such a beast at this track that I wouldn't want to give him any extra advantage in passing me here. Here we go, 1.5 more times around before the stage ends. Hold on.
Trouble back behind as one car got all sorts of sideways. That was Stiverson, I think.
Yeah, look how far back Jurgen has fallen because of that move he tried to make. Here we are, white flag for the stage, not for the race. 1 lap to go in this stage here. Now, will Kilrow return the favor, Nolan? Will Kilrow make the move? Will anyone follow him? Kilrow, for the moment, seems connected to Mitchell, but I suspect the move is coming.
Caution number 8 is imminent. It'll be either when 10th place crosses the line or with a crash on lap 120, no matter what comes first, and then we'll restart for the final sprint to the end of about 75 laps. To the inside goes Heinzman, trying to go for the point. Mitchell up top, pushed by Dalton Kilrow. Kilrow thinking about going for the win in stage number number 2, but he is not going to commit to it. And to the end, he's going to shove the 55 clear. Looks slow, too late. Greg Mitchell wins stage number 2.
Little too late. And there's the caution. Caution's out. Stage 2 is over. Boy, oh boy.
What a wild ride.
Multiple attempts to pass the leader there, and Heinzman had the run, I thought. I'm surprised Heinzman didn't get there. I thought he had it, but Greg Mitchell, the Austin, Texas native, will win stage 2 in the number 55 machine.
I want to get a look back, if we can, to that close moment with Mike Stiverson there. With 2 laps to go in the stage, this nearly spelled an end to our running early on.
Well, look at this here. So a couple moves are going to happen. This is coming down the back straight. You see all the cars in the back. We thought there'd be some trouble there, but they kept it clean. I thought by here Killer would have already made the move to the bottom. I was surprised. They're 3 wide. My goodness. That poor Jurgen really tried to make a bold move, and it fell so far back. But here we go. Watching from a different angle.
All
right. Well, as
draw.
Yeah, Kilrow speaks. I think what's happened here, Nolan, is because the caution comes out in iRacing a little different in real life. When the caution comes out in iRacing, it's the moment of caution in iRacing. So I think at the moment of caution, Kilrow might have actually pulled ahead of Mitchell, but at the line, double check myself before I say something wrong. They're going to score. I think it's going to be. The numbers from race control are way off. I don't want to say anything about that, but yeah. It was Mitchell at the line. I'm positive of that, I think.
Oh, I am too. It was definitely Greg Mitchell. Delta Killer didn't get there.
Okay.
About half a car.
Yeah. Well, I promised it to you, and let's go ahead and wait, see if anyone pits here first. Everyone's going to come down pit road, and we'll get to Andy Cork afterwards.
Well, no, Lee Campbell stays out.
I don't hate this. I mean, they last pitted on 92 with a bunch of cautions. I mean,
correction. Campbell's last stop was on 115. It's actually just like 5 laps prior. So
okay,
fair enough.
It makes more sense. Yeah, even better. You're right. He did pit under that right before the stage ended. So makes sense here. Gary Bowman, by the way, got that black flag on that last restart, or next to last restart, is the lucky dog, so he gets his lap back. Well, as pit stops are ending, I promised us we would do this, and I want to give Andy Cork a chance to talk on the broadcast. He's been in the YouTube chat. So Andy, first off, welcome into the GreenFlagTV broadcast booth, and let's ask you directly, what's your perspective of what happened here about, I think, 50 laps ago at this point?
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate the opportunity. First off, I'd like to say my family's thoughts and prayers are out to Dave Gainforth, the 101. We miss having him here tonight, or this afternoon to race. Hopefully he has a very speedy recovery, and we'll see him on the track again real soon. As far as the race goes, connection was really well, and all of a sudden, everyone disappeared and didn't quite know what to do at that point. I tried to maintain pace speed because I think we were just going under caution when that happened. And, the signal never came back. Next thing I know, I'm getting booted out of the sim, and, that was pretty much it. I really want to, apologize to anybody. I have no idea who I ended up bumping into, causing damage. I hate that happened. Hopefully they still have their fast repair to use to get back out on the track and continue the race.
Andy, listen, it takes a lot to come in here and talk in the YouTube chat or the broadcast chat and kind of share those words and those thoughts. And so, kudos to you for doing that and for making it happen. So, well, you're going to be a spectator for the rest of the race, unfortunately, due to, being removed. And I think you understand why based on probably what you've seen from the replays. But as you get ready to watch the rest of this race, what stands out to you? What do you think is the biggest story here for the last 75 laps or so?
Well, I think the biggest story is going to be who can maintain the top 10 positions. I think in the end, when that white flag comes out, any car in the top 10, I think, has a chance as long as they're tight. I know that our stronger drivers, I expect to see them there. The 55 Mitchell, the 28 Heinzman, 81 Ping. You know, Jurgen, he won it last year, and I expect the 92 to show a strong showing here at the end. So it's really anybody's game when it comes to super speedway racing, but they do, I think, need to be in that, you know, at least in the top 10 to have a chance to cross the checkered flag.
All right, Andy. Well, listen, again, thanks for coming in and talking and letting everyone know your perspective of what happened, and enjoy the rest of the race.
Yes, absolutely. Like to give a quick shout out to my Graybeard Racing teammates, the 43 Eric Anderson. I hope he moves his way into the top 10 so he has a shot at this race today. And the number 61 Leroy Koblenz. Keep it going, guys.
All right, thanks, Andy.
Thank you, guys. You guys do an excellent job enjoying the broadcast. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. That is Andy Cork, and give him a chance to kind of come in and explain what happened from his perspective. And so there we go. Now we're going to reset here and get ready to go. It's Campbell, Heinzman, Mitchell, Ping, and Wold, your top 5, Nolan.
A lot of Chevy representation up in the top 10. Only 2 that are not are the Toyota and the Ford that will lead us to the green flag this afternoon. Starting stage number 3, barring any further cautions, we will go green flag racing to the end. Weather conditions, 89 degrees Fahrenheit down to the racing surface, so still peak conditions for racing at the World Center of Racing this afternoon. Green flag is in there as we enter the Geico Restart Zone. Lee Campbell takes us to the green.
Boy, look at that push in the 55. That's impressive. I mean, Lee Campbell's getting a ride of his life. Remember, Lee Campbell stayed out. He pitted 1 caution to go, so he's the benefactor of a smart move, and he's getting shoved around here, getting a sort of a guided tour of Daytona, if you will.
So looking like we want to kind of rip it around the top shelf this afternoon. Heinzman, DNA Motorsports driver, still trying to rally back for the team after Corey and Amanda Sherman both dropped out, and caution is out again.
Well,
we just keep racking them up, don't we?
I was hoping that the stage end would have maybe calmed us down, but that does not appear.
What was it for? I can't even see anything.
I don't know. I thought I saw Richter coming back up on track. I'm not saying he was involved, but that typically is a hint of where you might find the caution.
It's
another one of these.
Do it.
Yep, music right there. You see Richter's got under, and another example of someone who's riding a half lane. That's it's funny, you know, when I was watching back in the duels, I was watching with some teammates over at Todd Rossi Esports, and we were watching the duels that you and Corey Insing called, and we noticed a lot of half lane moves in the second. I think it was second duel especially, and that's those half lane moves are what's causing this. Man, you can't ride a half lane because people are going to start to suck up in that draft. Watch the fireball car. He just gets up, and then music gets up under him, and I don't know. That checkup time is hard, man. It's not as easy to check up here. Oh wait, I'm sorry. It's music gets turned. The fireball car was innocent. I apologize. I had one car ahead of my vision here.
I locked it down. Relatively good job to kind of keep it out of the field, but well, caution flag number 9. And stage number 3, not off to a good start, but we'll see how this one's going to pan out as the 23 Bass Pro or Tractor Boats car takes out the Spam 09. We'll take a break. When we return, it's the restart once again on GreenFlagTV. Welcome back to GreenFlagTV, getting set to go back to Green Flag Racing for our 10th race/restart of the night with 72 laps on the clock. My name is Old Ramble alongside Derek Watson, bringing you all of racing action from start to finish, and we're going to see that pace car pull down in the pit road. The sun is starting to get a little bit lower. The shadows growing longer, Derek, as we hit the green flag once again.
Yeah, we're going to green at 7:06 p.m. virtual sim time, about an hour and 5 minutes before
we crashed already.
My goodness, that's the 16. That is Matthew Simple, former leader race. So that's going to be a black flag as well, because he is going to have an unsafe pit entry, and he might be calling it a day right there.
So I'm not going to pin that on anybody for now, because I heard a loud bang. I think his motor blew up on the restart.
Yeah. Watch the restart here. The motor's going to blow afterwards. Hold on a second. Right here's going to get hit in a moment.
Body shifted.
The motor blows actually in the grass, which is what confuses me about maybe the shift happens as a relation to the bump draft. I'm not sure.
Watch the gear indicator.
Watch the RPMs here.
The gear goes 2 and 1.
Oh yeah, no, you're exactly correct. Yeah, the way graphically I thought I saw it from up top, I thought the puff of smoke came afterwards. But yeah, he's done. Boy, oh boy, former race leader is out of this race. Matthew Simple done for the day after blowing that motor. That'll be if iRacing lets him repair it, that's at least 40 minutes. That's likely most of the rest of the Cyber 500. But here we go, back to the front. Heinzman, Kilrow, Ping, Wold, and Campbell. And I continue to be stunned. Dalton Kilrow involved in that big wreck, what we call the big one, and got front end damage, got back end damage, and I thought for sure it was probably done. But now he's got fellow High Tide Racing League member Dustin Ping behind him. They're going to try and race it out here and see if they can get to the front. Here's the second pack of cars. They're too wide. They're racing like number 5 we go, Nolan.
And they are already almost a second off of Ed Jurgen, who picks up the tail of the field at 13. By the way, Tandem R putting down the fast lap of the race so far for the Five Kings Motorsports crew. He is lined up right behind his teammate, Larry Bell. Don't think we're going to see too much out of them. This is one of the tamest restarts we've seen in a long while. I think it took a couple of quick succession yellows for people to really realize just how long they still had to go, and now we're starting to see them calm down again.
Yeah, I think the stage break really was. I think everyone was racing for that stage points and the stage break, and then I think just, you know, it is going to calm down from there, I hope, as this race continues on. And see that group here. There's a 45th Eric Anderson up top. Remember at one point he was a lap down. He's got his lucky dog. He's racing back here again. He's getting pushed around the top and trying to make the best of this race. But, you know, what those guys are likely saying to him, the guys on the bottom of this track here, Nolan, as of the 8s and others are probably saying, hey, listen, get down here. You know, a longer drafting line means we do better. But right now that's not happening. It's the Heinzman, Kilrow, Ping, Wold, Campbell, and the rest of that train will pull away a little bit from the second pack here.
Matthew Semple on his way out of pit road, so not out of the fight yet, was able to get a quick repair into that race car. He has gone down 4 laps, but as we've seen throughout laps about 80 to 130 or so, it's still a long way, and there's a lot of potential for some more cautions to get Semple back towards the lead lap.
Yeah, I do apologize. I forgot about the fast repairs these drivers had available. You know, Andy Cork mentioned in his interview as well. So, good news for Simple. Now, he'll probably get caught up in that second drafting pack. You saw him kind of quickly get passed by the leaders. He was going too slow to really be sucked into their draft. So he'll likely catch that second group and attach onto them in the moment.
You see Simple, there is the second group, and like you mentioned earlier, right, he's going to take the smart but selfish move, stay on the low side, not make it easy for the leaders, and that will give him the most amount of opportunities to tag in the line. He's going to pick up the draft of the number 71 entry of Chris Legoo.
That's the best thing for him right now, is to get attached to a drafting line and just go. Right now, he has scored 3 laps down. There's 2 cars, Spencer Johnson 2 laps down, and Dakota Wilkins 1 lap down. So, depending on what happens, it sounds a little far-fetched, a little crazy, but with enough cautions, Matthew Simple could maybe be relevant. I don't know. Crazier things happen. That's why I watch Daytona.
Kilrow and Heinzman run 1 and 2 on the field right now. As Dustin Payne, Chris Wold, Lee Campbell back in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Mitchell, Burnett, Milwayne, Bell, and Marr for the top 10. And then you got Stiverson, Caldwell, and Jurgen for the tail end of the leading 13-car pack. And this is all still with over a quarter of this race to go. That's a long way. I mean, 66 laps. For reference, for those that might be unfamiliar, if you tune into the Ole Miss SRL Cup Series on Tuesday nights, that is longer than their season opener several weeks ago.
Yeah, you know, this is, someone asked me, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, a friend asked me, do I consider this to be an endurance race? The answer is yes. Yes, by far I do. As a driver, it's tough. And what makes it more tough is, for the most part, you're there by yourself. Maybe you have some friends in Discord. Maybe you got a spotter with you, but there's no driver to swap. But this isn't the Daytona 24. It's not the Bathurst 12. There's no one here to kind of, help you. You don't take a breather. And so, to me as a driver, when you're going through this race, there's 2 parts of it, and not counting the stages. There's counting up the numbers and counting down the numbers. And they go drastically different speeds when you're in the car, in my opinion. Right? Counting up the numbers takes about 9 years to count up to 100, it feels like. Counting down the numbers, those things move fast, especially if you're not, leading. If you're Dalton Kilrow, if you're Dustin Ping, heck, even if you're, one of the Milwaynes, if you're Larry Bell, if you're Tanner Marr, those numbers count down fast when you're trying to figure out a way to get to the front. And so this is a long race. I mean, we started this race, went green just after noon Eastern, and it is now, I don't know, 2:30 Eastern, and we're not even close to done. So this is an endurance race. This will test your body. This will test your mental ability to focus. It'll test your bladder. It'll test a lot of things about your body.
So, do you want to know what's a real endurance race at Daytona? It's not the Willis 24. It's it is, I kid you not, a 12-hour stock car race on the oval that's timed.
I've heard of these before. In fact, there used to be a league in iRacing that didn't exist very long that did nothing but oval endurance races, and yeah, I'll pass on that.
It's a unique concept, though, right? I think it's an interesting take on the old format. I actually covered the back 4 hours of one of those races once over on LSR TV. It was a one-time deal. I think the biggest crime out of that race, the fact that it ended under caution from a late race yellow. Like all of that, and it ends under yellow.
That's it, under yellow.
Feels like it's wrong. You don't have overtime in time races like we do here.
That's true. That's very, very true. So, boy, everyone now looks content, don't they? We've been kind of having some fun here for a moment, kind of talking about everything. But Heinzman is in first, Kilrow's in second, Ping, Wold, and Campbell. It's been that top 5 for a while now. Everyone seems content. As you said, after the stage break, it's kind of calmed down. Now, for a moment, we got nothing to race for. We got a second pack back there who's trying to catch up. And even a couple cars further back, Eric Anderson fell way back off of the second pack. He's got that pink and green machine behind him. So for now, everyone's content. Remember, we're not done. Everyone's got to pit again. If you count that everyone pitted on lap 23, means we're pitting on lap 158, maybe 155. So that is going to be about 20 laps from now. And that will be close. If you pitted 20 laps from now, that's 60 to go. That would put you right on the verge of needing to save gas to make it on that pit stop. Boy, fuel mileage races Daytona. We've called those before.
We've called a shocking amount of them the last little while, haven't we? I mean, there's been a lot of those fuel mileage races coming on more and more, and a lot of it leads to drivers running 3/4 throttle, almost half throttle, maybe less than that, slowing down and maybe running instead of
They're going to want to win. They're going to make a move up front. It's not just this back pack; it's any pack. When does the move happen? How safe is it? How calculated is it? And, because I would think if you wait till the white flag to make your move here, which, by the way, I have no we turned back to their group. Dalton Kilrow might be listening to the broadcast, but he took my notes. He has now gotten around that lapped car. They put the lapped car in the back, by the way, and Heisman went up top. I don't.
Picking up the draft
Trying
from
to
the
suck
two
the draft
lappers
off
up the
the
road.
cars up top. I wouldn't do that. Well, okay.
It worked out for now.
I suppose, yeah, that's, I mean, you run the risk, though, of that group just passing you by. I'm surprised that works so well, but they have put that lap car at the back of their field here, so now they get to kind of race it out towards the end here without a lap car in the way. But Dalton Kilrow now up to third since we focus on them last.
Kilrow right ahead of defending High Time Racing champion Dustin Ping. Both contenders right now in the top 4 in the points on Monday night. They might be title rivals right now in tomorrow's race. Tonight, though, will there be that interleague camaraderie that sees them work together?
Yeah, it definitely does feel that way, doesn't it? We'll wait and see who leaves who behind or who pushes who in this moment. So Heisman, Ping, Kilrow, Wold, Mitchell, your top 5 here. Come around to take 10 to go. Remember, we do have green-white checkers in this race if we need them. Right now, that looks like we don't. But let's see if anything changes here.
And that can change in a second. Like that,
Yep.
It is insane how fast that can change. I mean, I'm not confident we're making it out of this race green, especially whenever we go double file.
Anytime you have this moment right here, you're a little nervous. There's Milwain on the bottom. That's the 46 of Andrew Caldwell up top. And boy, they're racing hard back here. I mean, this is top 10. And I think it's important to remember again that, you know, you and I are covering the Cyber 500. As you said, you know, due to some different deals, we're not covering the whole season, but this is the beginning of a season. So some people are going, man, if you can't win the Cyber 500, why are you battling for 10th? Why are you battling for whatever? So these guys, this is one of many races. Every point matters in a season. You and I have seen many seasons come down to single points on who advances and who doesn't. So that's why they're racing so hard for P10.
Exactly. Every single point matters. So you can never underestimate how important that 1 point is going to be when it comes down to it. How many times on GreenFlagTV have we seen championships decided in the final race? Because it comes down to points. It is one of those things that can never be understated. And this is why, even in the real world, we see drivers getting a bit over aggressive in the close stages. Because while, yes, you know, you're fighting for, 15th, 20th on the grid, at the same time, it's the first race of the next 36, and this might be one of the best chances you have all season to make a spot, because this is a race where you can be able to use that draft. It's not just based on all-out pace alone.
Yeah, that's very true. So points matter, and they're going to race like it here. But I am noticing a little bit here. Those cars are moving around now. It could be this, a little bit of fatigue is kicking in, where it's just a little harder to hold a line than it was 100 and some laps ago. It could be drivers getting some last-minute air to that car before the big pushes begin. Or the third option, which is it could be drivers kind of testing the water. Hey, if I move out of lane, will you move out of lane with me? And that's how you kind of test it when you don't have voice communications, right? You just kind of, how many cars will dip up top with me? And, oh, that's my one to go. That may be what's going on here. So a lot of different mind games may be getting played here. But unfortunately for Cody Heisman, he's the, oh boy, he's the car that has the biggest, toughest job. And when I'm Heisman and I get Ping pushing me well ahead like that, I get nervous, because what they could be trying to do, Nolan, is setting him up. That means they're going to push him way far ahead where he kind of is not really feeling the effect of the draft, and then they'll pass him on by in the last couple of laps.
Ping's already thinking about it. He's looking up high. There you got the 09 car now. That's going to go up to the high side and let these guys through. That is Music caught up in a couple of incidents so far today. He's going to go down another lap. 7 laps to go in this one for the 5th annual Cyber 500. At this point in last season's race, we were packed up nose to tail. It was an aggressive dogfight. Caution came out, though, with under 5 laps to go. So we're in the danger zone now for this race going into overtime.
I mean, even just the bumps that's being given up front here from Ping to Heisman, like, even these are scary, right? Even these are just a little, like, not that Ping's being aggressive, but it just takes one bad bump, right? One off-center bump that you can't predict. And this could all change around pretty quickly. And back here, by the way, after 32 with Ozzy Milwain on the inside of the 20. Now they're racing.
Bit of disagreement there over who wanted to go where.
And here's the scary one. If we can find Matthew Simple, he just told those guys, hey, push me as hard as you can and I'll help take you to the next pack. Push me as hard as you can. If I'm a driver who's 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th in this field, I just got a big grin on my face when someone says, push me as hard as you can. But then Eric Anderson said, I'll push you as hard as I feel comfortable. I mean, I'm not going to over-push it.
That's
There's
a
no
smart
need
response.
That's right. That's a smart response. I mean, when these guys are racing here pretty far deep in the field, no need to push too hard.
Caution flag now would send this race into overtime this afternoon. Cody Heinzman still leads the way for TNA Performance. The Pink Precision Auto Glass, number 81, Dustin Pink runs second. It's MFRD's Exalted, number 24, Dulcie Kilrow back in third. Fourth place holds the Underdog Racing driver of the Boise State, number 32 of Chris Wold, and then Greg Mitchell takes it up just a little ways behind. Running in that number 5 Cyber Thunder Racing League Tuesday Night Cup Series Chevy Camaro. 5 cars, each with an equal opportunity to go for the win. At this point, unless anything happens, it's a 5-horse race.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, right now we're starting 4 to go. I think next time by is when all bets are off. I think next time by is when you have to think about making your move, because it takes a while to build my own. Here it comes. There's a 55 and the 5. They're going to team up in the back. And let's see if they can get...
Whoa,
my goodness. That's going to kill that run for now. They're both going to connect to the back of the draft here. I thought 3 to go was the time, but watch the 55 here. Does he get a bad bump from the off-center bump from the 5?
Woo. That could have been the overtime caution right there.
Yeah, that was pretty darn close, I'll tell you that. But look at them. They're pushing Heisman out here. And 3 to go. Watch for Ping, Kilrow, and maybe Wold or some combination of those cars to make a move here. You can't wait forever. It takes a while to build momentum here. You see Wold tried to peek out there and no one went with him. Lost a little bit of time. Boy, oh boy, 7.5 miles to go to win the Cyber 500.
Still some more lap traffic going to get in the way. The 97 is not going to make this easy. He's going to force the leaders up high. Does that give Mitchell the chance to try and run them down? I don't think so. Pink stays up high. Kilrow cuts slow. He's going to get to second.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be the opposite way. I thought Kilrow was going to hang up top. Now, does Kilrow pull up? Nope. I thought maybe Kilrow could pull up top there and help Ping, but now Kilrow's pushing Heisman around here. 2 to go with the line.
2 laps to go. Dalton Kilrow. He did not know if he was even going to make this race as he gets set to shove Heisman around through turn numbers 1 and 2. He had to dip out of the approval race with 9 laps to go. He crashed at a duo number 1. He has been by far the hard charger today, plus 33. He needs to get 1 more, though, to go for a Cyber 500 victory. Caution is out. It's overtime.
Oh, my goodness. Where is it going to be from?
Run straight away.
There's Richter. Boy, oh boy.
So close.
Half a lap from this being official is where we were. And there's a 71 on pit road. And I think that may be a culprit here. That was Christopher Legou. 71 you saw on pit road. Not sure if he's involved yet. So let's wait and see what's going to happen here. There's a bright orange machine on the bottom lane. Car coming down, car coming up. My goodness.
Going around hard into the wall for the 60 of Campbell. And you see the second field of Semple and more flying up on this, and Richter just barely got around that. That's all she wrote.
Well, watch from Richter's point of view here. He's right behind Eric Anderson. This will be behind Simple. See what's going to happen in this moment. Sees the car up on the wall. Richter just gets down to the bottom of the track and just sort of stay. Oh my gosh, I thought he was going to stay away from it. And that car almost came up and cooperating here.
So,
All right, well, that's going to put, by the way, Carter Lawson on the lucky dog. So that'll put one more car back on the lead lap here whenever he gets the word to go around, which I thought would have been right about now. Let's see. Should have put him in lucky dog. There he goes.
Hey.
I got the word. So that is going to... I lost my screen here. Sorry, that's going to put us at 21 cars on the lap. I'll just share a funny story about Carter Lawson real quick before we get into our race analysis here. So you and I put out a driver bio survey this week so we could kind of learn about the drivers and have some fun broadcast notes. And I had to confirm with Carter this morning because his original note about him said, wife of 9 years, daughter 5. And I was like, hey, Carter, what does that mean? Like, I don't want to, like, assume anything, but, like, Carter's not, you know, like... And then he said, yeah, I left some words out. That she has a wife of 9 years.
Okay.
And a daughter that's 5. And I was like, oh, that is way different.
What a difference one word makes to a sentence.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's like that old grammatical joke, you know, let's eat, comma, grandma, or let's eat grandma.
Yeah.
You know, that one little comma makes a big difference sometimes. But I kind of laughed with Carter this morning. Like, yeah, that's a small difference. Like, hey, listen, it's 2025. I don't want to assume, but
of course.
I want to clarify.
It helps to clarify these things.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yep, so it's been married and has a daughter, so hopefully they're watching along. I mean, hey, listen, 21st place on a green white checker, maybe not the odds-on favorite, but hey, it's Daytona.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, Derek, but this is attempt 1 of 3?
I think so. We'll verify that if we can. Let's see what the info for the race say. No DQ limit. I think this is 1 of 3.
I'd imagine so. That tends to be the industry standard.
Yeah.
And Heinzman is picking the high side.
I would not do that.
That is a choice, and it could be a race coster.
Might explain the little high squeaked noise I just heard from Dalton Kilrow. I'm not sure, because I think he's surprised and excited. But I was going to say Dalton Kilrow was probably the one driver who was not stoked that this caution. He actually kind of said, I wanted us to enter the green. I thought I had it. And of course, everyone's behind like, well, we're happy. And then, you know, he's like, well, I'm not. So I'm confused by this, Nolan. Here's my devil's advocate, like, aluminum foil hat theory about why you picked the top. You have broken up the teammates of Dustin Ping and Dalton Kilrow.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that. No kidding. That could be big. They can't.
That could be big.
They're not going to get linked up either before the white flag.
No, likely. Well, it depends how the 32 does here. How the 32 does, or maybe the 55 does, in pushing that lane. But yeah, if they push Kilrow, he might have broken up those teammates. Now, I don't know that I would let that be my determining factor. I think for a 2-lap run, the inside lane is probably still better at Daytona, and I would risk the teammates getting linked up. But that is the only reason I could think why you picked the top lane at Daytona. Corey Sherman, by the way, in the YouTube chat, thanks for Corey for hanging out, shooting on Cody Heinzman. But he really does seem to be a perennial favorite, doesn't he? Like, I mean, we talked to Andy Corker. He was rooting for Heinzman. Now we got Corey Sherman rooting for him. So seems to be a fan favorite, right?
Corey, I'm not surprised because he's a teammate.
Teammates, yeah. But, you know,
it's a prerequisite almost. But yeah, I mean, Heinzman, the popular driver. We'll see. He's got 2 guys that have been running around each other a lot that know how each other races. He's got a lot of drivers behind him. All of a sudden, it's a 5-horse race to a 21-car race. Green flags in the air. It's overtime for the Cyber 500. Dustin Ping cuts down to the low side. Problems for Dustin Ping. He's down on the racetrack, and Ping's out of the fight.
Is he out? He's under power. He's not out of gas. I don't think. Black flag? Did he get the black flag from no?
No idea.
No.
No idea what went wrong for Dustin Ping, Dalton Kilroe, Doran, Gary Bowman. Here comes last year's winner, Ed Jurgen. 3-1 up the middle goes the 45 of Lockrow.
Remember, once we get the white flag, all bets are off. No caution in the last lap here. It's going to be whatever happens, happens. And that's where we're headed very, very quickly here. Can Kilroe get a push? And it seems improbable right now. I'll be honest with you, Nolan.
White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Trouble front straightaway. One car hard into the outside wall. Crashing down towards the end. Now crashing again up in turn number 2. Multiple cars going around. Several of the heavy hitters are now done to the back. Still 3 wide as we near the head of the field. Jurgen cuts down low. Jurgen going for a move. They're still wrecking in turn 2. Jurgen's up to second. Greg Mitchell trying to get through a push, but Bowman linked up with Heinzman up on the high side. Turn 3 for the final time tonight. Does anyone have anything for the number 28? Down to the inside. Heinzman blocks. Jurgen's not going to live today. Down to the inside. Trouble crash. Bowman into the wall. High side goes Jurgen. Second year in a row. And Jurgen snipes it from Heinzman at the line.
No way. I thought that was possible.
Pulled that off to perfection for the second year in a row. And Jurgen, a champion of the Cyber 500. And lots to unpack on the final lap.
Yeah, watch this here again. This will be, wow, this is going to be crazy when all this happens.
Coming down to the wire. It starts further down the pack here as drivers just fall apart. One car gets hooked heavily into the outside wall. From there, it's a madhouse as a bunch of cars scramble up into turn numbers 1 and 2. They wrecked again coming through turn 2. We get to everything that happened coming off of 4 in just a little while, but for now, Ed Jurgen burning it down on the front straightaway is a happy, happy camper.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple fun looks at the end of this race here we'll find in a moment, but right now, Ed Jurgen, for the second year in a row, gets to celebrate here. That's a good profile for him.
I think that's something that caught me off guard right there.
That caught me off guard right there. The New Jersey native for the second year in a row, victorious at Daytona. Congrats to Ed Jurgen.
Driver out of Mullica Hill, a phenomenal run this afternoon. This is everything that happened at the back portion of that final lap there. And actually, sorry, this was a little bit earlier. Here we go. So as everything falls apart for the back end of the field, watch the drives that happened further down the field. I thought for a moment it might be somebody like Mitchell that might have a run, because look at how far back they are. You'd think they have a good thing going for them.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, Jurgen quickly got down to the bottom and got a little bit of help from the 55, and that run started to form from the bottom. I thought maybe that was where the run was going to come from, that big, massive draft, and Jurgen blocks it. But from here, I was convinced Heinzman had it. I thought for sure, right when he blocks right here, this is when I was like convinced he had the 500 win. I thought for sure this is going to be a calamity happens. Jurgen gets up, and then from there it's all over.
An absolutely wild race. Let's look at that finish on board with Jurgen, and this is going to be a great view of what happened here.
So this is coming down the Daytona Superstretch for the final time. Moment here, Heinzman's going to pull down and block this run here.
Heinzman pulls down, blocks the run, and then the look up high, the drive. No one helped Heinzman when it counted, and that steals Jurgen a win in the 2025 Cyber 500. This time, he did not get taken out across the line for it. Carter Lawson picks up a 13th place, and you mentioned his ride along has some angles on it.
Watch this. Remember, he starts 21st, the last car from the end of line from Lucky Dog. Here's the first wreck. Avoids this. All right, I got that. And we're calling a wreck. Still have here's another wreck to the inside. Yep, there's a third wreck. Look at it, still doing great. Carter Lawson, maybe a slight bump right there.
Boy.
Going Eric Anderson to the outside. Just stays in the throttle. Stays in the throttle. Down the back straight for the final. This is a wild ride for Carter Lawson here. Boy, oh boy, this is a great run. I think from here, I think this is going to be, let's watch it here through 3 and 4. This is an amazing last lap for Carter. This is the definition, just hold on to it and finish where you can. Out of turn 4, last lap, Carter Lawson, 21st. I see one more.
Someone ran out of fuel there.
Yep, to 13th. Is that Tanner Marr? Maybe that's 13th spot right there.
And
That's
all
8 spots gained in the last lap, Nolan.
And all of that is going to take us into the post-race results. A wild way to close out what was an awesome 2025 Cyber 500. Taking home the W, Ed Jurgen comes home 900th of a second ahead of Cody Heinzman at the end of it. Jared Kamali will be in third with Greg Mitchell in fourth. Wold was in fifth. And then it is Andrew Caldwell in sixth. Marr in seventh. Richter, Bowman, Kilroe round out the top 20.
Back in P11 is Craig Meyer with Chris Lutz behind him, and Carter Lawson, that run we saw in 13th. Eric Anderson in 14th with Leroy Coblentz in 15th. Ethan Milwain, Lee Campbell, Mike Stuyvesant, Larry Bell, and Dustin Ping round out your top 20.
And moving on down through the field, 21st place, one lap down. Well, last car on the lead lap was Doug Lockrow, and then one down is Chris Rose. Music was 2, 3 was Burnett, and then 4 was Johnson and Murphy. And 6 down was Chris Laguz. 7 down was Semple, the last car to finish the race. And then Dakota Wilkinson, Coda Gibson, both marked as DNFs in the second half.
We get down here to the cars that did not fare well in this race. John Milwain, Mackenzie Milwain, Jason Dinsmore, Matthew Sweezy, Mike Donahue, Andy Cork, Ozzie Milwain, Don Price, Corey Sherman, and Amanda Sherman round out a 40-car field for the Cyber 500.
A lot of action here to keep us busy in this one, and we'll get the chance now to give a chit-chat to all of the drivers that come home at the end of one of the wilder finishes we've seen in Daytona, as we're going to see if we cannot get in touch with one Ed Jurgen. And it's a big day for Ed. Last time, Ed, you had to come home and you had to dodge the wrecks and kind of get a bit lucky there on the final lap to take on the W. Today, it was just an all-out sprint as you take your second Cyber 500 in a row.
Yeah, man. Like I said in the pre-race, I was telling you, I was just going to hang back and then push at the end of each stage and then be there at the end.
Kind of walk us through the final lap, because drivers were knocking themselves out of the race left and right. You managed to stay ahead of all of it, and we thought it was done when Heinzman threw the block out of 4.
Yeah, I had Gary Bowman and Jarrett Kimley and Chris Woll, all teammates, and so I pulled out. I was behind Garrett, pulled out, and then Jarrett came up and gave me a nice push, and it was enough to get me past Cody.
You're able to take home your second Cyber 500 win in a row. Does this mean that for the upcoming season on OSR Network, you're going to be gunning for a title?
Yeah, that's the goal. You know, we're in the trucks for the title, so we'll see how it goes, and that's my goal, is to get into the playoffs and then push for a championship.
Sounds like a solid plan. Ed, congratulations once again. We'll wish you all the best of luck whenever you go racing next. Congratulations on taking the Cyber 500 for the second year running.
All right, thanks, man. The Jurgen's Lawn Care 2 in a row now. Going to make it 3-peat next year.
Ed Jurgen comes home number 1 this afternoon, and then that will bring us on down to Cody Heinzman. The driver that comes home second, he is standing by with Derek Watson.
Well, Cody, you led so many laps today. Unfortunately, the last lap was just not the one that you led in the end. But what an amazing run you had here. Talk us through that last lap. What was the range of emotions you felt going down the back straight and then out of 4?
Well, there's a lot of emotions. First and foremost, do I have enough fuel? I had to clutch so hard on that green-white checkered. I had only had enough to go the scheduled distance, so I was holding on for fuel, and we had all the lines kind of shifting around and everyone pushing every which way. I had Gary behind me, and I was willing to commit to having Gary behind me and stay on the outside. I always like the outside because that's the line that moves, but Gary didn't have any help coming through 3 and 4, and that line on the bottom was coming. So I felt like I threw a perfect block, but the amount of momentum they had off of 4 was just so much that there was not really anything I could do as the lead car. I just had to hope that whatever run they took, they ended up wrecking each other, and I could kind of get to the line. But Either way, it was a really good race. I'm glad I was able to be up front and lead some laps. My goal at the plate tracks is always, be there with a chance at the end. And if that's the case, you never know what's going to happen, but that's the best position you can put yourself in.
Well, I noticed in your pre-race stats, you noticed that you said you led the most laps in Cyber all time. So you obviously padded that stat today with some more laps led. A pretty great run. So as the season now progresses, what's your outlook for the rest of the season?
Well, I'm open for a really good season this run. Last season, it was me and the 55. We were kind of going head-to-head for pretty much all season. If I wasn't up there winning the race, Greg was up there winning the race, and half the time we were battling each other for it. It was a really good championship, and that season ended not that long ago. We're getting right back into it this Tuesday, so looking forward to that battle. Looking forward to see how some of the new guys race around us as well. Hopefully we can put on a good show, and hopefully I can make it 3 in a row.
So the last thing I have for you here, I was so amused by your stats you put in the pre-driver bios, and I thought you were a pretty smart guy. It says here, married to the best wife in the world was for your non-Irishing accomplishments. So do you want to take a second and give her or anyone else a shout out?
Yeah, of course. Shout out to my wife, Alicia, who always watches and roots me on in all of these races. And shout out to my grandparents who always watch these as well. This was a pretty good show to put on, so I'm sure they had a lot of fun watching.
Well, Cody, not the finish you ultimately wanted, but P2 is still a solid start to the season. Congrats on the run today.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that is Cody Heinzman, comes in finishing P2 tonight, Nolan. I think now we'll catch up with Jarrett here. Jarrett, P3 amongst all the chaos here at the end of this race. You're, as far as I know, the only North Dakota native in the race today. There's a fun stat there, but walk me through the last lap. How chaotic was that?
Man, I don't even know what happened. It was such chaos towards the end, and we were done for up until that caution, and I just jumped to the low line and got some pushes, and then I almost got pushed, wrecked off the turn 4, and eventually made it back up there, I guess.
Is this a style of racing you enjoy? Do you enjoy plate racing, or is this really maybe not your favorite thing?
When it turns out like this, I enjoy it, but there's been times where, you lose the draft and you're just kind of sitting out there putzing around, and it's hit or miss. Well,
of course, this is the first race of the season for you guys for the Cyber Thunder, Cyber Thunder Racing League. So what's your outlook for the rest of the season?
Well, I'm hoping I can make a lot more races this year. Last year was a pretty limited schedule, but just hoping to compete all year. The trucks are a handful for me. I haven't quite grasped the ins and outs of those to be fast, I should say, but yeah.
All right, well, notice you said here you're on using triple monitors with the Moza R5. Do you think the triple monitors helped you at all with kind of spotting what to do in the last lap with all the wrecking and calamity going on?
Man, again, it was such chaos. I was just looking forward at that point. But yeah, I love the triples. I raced the duals on a single monitor. I was on a different rig, and man, having these babies back is a welcome thing.
I bet it is. Well, listen, Jarrett, it was fun watching your race today. Thanks so much for being here, and congrats and good luck on the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thanks for the broadcast. It's a heck of a broadcast, you two.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. That is your third place finisher, Nolan, coming home in the 33. Sort of a small play on numbers there. And that wraps up our podium interviews.
Boy, what a journey it was this afternoon, right? I mean, that was something else, to put it mildly. I mean, I can't really formulate into words all of what we just saw, but let's look forward, right? I mean, it was an awesome race tonight. They got a long season ahead of them. It's going to have to gear up for everything that's ahead of them. All of that, of course, going to be on the OSR network, so you can jump on over there with Joe White. We'll take you to the rest of the season, but Derek, I mean, this race definitely more caution-filled than last year's race, but overall, I'd still call that a success.
Yeah, a great race, lots of great action, lots of great drafting, lots of strategy, and fuel mileage. Again, I sort of lost track of it in the green-white checker, but for Cody Heinzman and others, probably came down to how much gas was in that tank. Could have played a big factor. So congrats to Cyber Thunder Racing League on an amazing 500. This is an amazing event, so congrats to them. Congrats to our winner. This was a great day.
Before we get to more racing action on Greenflag TV, coming on up to actually tonight in less than 5 hours, the SRL Xfinity Series swings out to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. America's Home for Motorsports plays those to 170 laps or 2 hours for round 2. That'll be at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time tonight. Tomorrow, the High Tide Wrestling MFRD Premier Series closes out the round of 8 of the Phoenix Raceway, and that will gear us up for a long trip around Homestead the week after. Almost Row returns from a one-week vacation. They'll be racing at the Martinsville Speedway this coming Tuesday, with the Speed Cup Series out at Circuit of the Americas on Thursday night. SRIL Truck Series, as always, is up for more Saturday night action. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to find out more about who we are, what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. My name is always Noah Ramble, alongside Darren Watson. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time when we go racing on Greenflag TV.